All my stars and garters, welcome back to a brand new episode of Spawn Traps Hit Pause MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse podcast that's about to do to you what Limp Bizkit did to music in the late 90s. I am Till. I'm joined once again by Jordan.
Hello, everyone.
You want to say that intro in sign language?
Oh, I didn't. I
No?
I do
Okay.
not know how to say that. I was just gonna say our names in sign language. I can't do that whole intro. I'm still learning.
Yes. We got a lot to talk about,
We
so I
do.
want to get into it right away and as quickly as possible.
I got a coffee. I'm ready.
Oh, I do too. Mine's just a little colder. Um, yeah. So there's a lot of news that's happening, and a lot of new stuff that we've watched that we need to talk about. But most importantly, today, Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
The number one thing we should be talking about is Madam Web. Have you seen Madam Web yet?
I have not seen Madam Web
Me
yet.
neither. Have you heard anything about it?
No, just I only heard what we talked about. Why did it? Is it out already?
It's out now, yeah.
Oh, it's out now. Okay, I wasn't
It's
sure. I
like it
couldn't
just
remember. I
came
knew it
out.
was coming up soon. I just didn't know. Yeah. Okay. I have not seen it. If I'm gonna go see it in theaters, I'll probably see it with you. If not,
Okay.
we'll probably wait till it's out on Disney Plus. So.
I'm excited because first of all,
Oh wait, is it Sony?
it is Sony.
So it won't be on
Spider-Man
Disney
movie.
Plus. Yeah.
No, not initially. So I think the new deal is that once Sony movies are done in theaters, the streaming rights go to Netflix first, I think.
Yeah.
It used to be Stars. I don't know if it's still Stars, but and this is for US because that's all the news I can find about streaming stuff is always the US. But I think it's the same in Canada now. So it's just once it's done in theaters, it goes streaming to Netflix. Once the Netflix term is up, then it can go to Disney Plus. That's why you actually see a lot of Sony Marvel stuff on Disney Plus now. It's because they're slowly getting the rights to them for streaming. No, it is a Sony movie. It's the longest Sony Marvel movie.
Hmm.
But there's like no promotional material. They held embargoes on the movie, so it's like already off to a bad sign. I'm hearing nothing but bad things about the movie. I'm hearing people say it's worse than Morbius, which again, as a reminder, both of us didn't hate Morbius. It wasn't the
No.
best movie, but we didn't hate it.
Right. I think it's because people said it was so bad that when we watched it, I was like, I've seen worse.
Maybe, yeah, we had our expectations really low.
Yeah.
I just the number one thing I remember from that movie is he punched another villain with bats. Like he collectively had made bats appear and then he punched him with bats. Sorry to
Have
spoil
you
Morbius.
have you watched it since we all watched it together?
No.
Yeah, me neither. But I will watch it again because my girlfriend has still yet to see it, so I will
Oh
have
yeah.
to I will have to watch it again. But
I
I
feel like
was
that's
just
a movie you watch with people.
yes, yeah, I was gonna
Yes.
say it's like it is not one. It is out of all the MCU movies, it is not one that I have watched multiple times. Or
It
long up
is
there
it
with
is technically an MCU movie, but not in the universe, in the multiverse.
right. I guess I
Like
should
all
just
these
say
are.
it's like probably one superhero
Yeah.
comic book
It's
movie that I have not watched more
it's
than
in the
once. So
Venom verse.
yeah, yeah.
Venomverse. Or the Sony Spider-Man universe,
I
which
would watch
Madam Web
Morbius
is.
over Venom and Carnage
Oh yeah,
anytime.
100%. Venom Let There Be Carnage is the bottom bar for us.
Yeah, it
However, there
is.
might be a new bottom bar with Madam Web, and from what I'm hearing, it's so bad. It's like like it's funny how bad it is.
Oh,
Like
that's not
you,
good.
but it's like you're gonna like enjoy how bad it is. It's like like those bad movies you watch because it's bad.
Is it a like get drunk and let's see how
Yeah,
crazy this ride is movie? Yeah, let's
yeah.
see.
So I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to that actually. Um, so yeah, I don't. It's such a shame because it has a lot of characters I really like in the movie, and it's a lot of
Yeah.
characters like I would love to see these characters live action, and they're doing it, but I guess they're not doing it well. Particularly, I was looking forward to Ezekiel, who's the villain of the movie, and
Yeah.
Julia Carpenter, which is one of the Spider Women, who's actually the inspiration, like the design inspiration for Venom.
Right.
So it would be cool to see those characters live action, but it's such a shame. Anyway, and also the plot sounds really interesting. It's like a Terminator meets Final Destination meets Spider Verse.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm like, yeah, I'm in. Just that sounds awesome, and that's
Yeah,
I guess it's just
because
another
the trailer looked really good. I liked the trailer. I
except
remember
for the
in
dialogue.
yeah, I didn't care about all that, but like the I remember I think like from I didn't watch it today, but off memory, I think I remember liking the music and like the flow of the trailer. I was like, this looks pretty
The
cool.
music
Yeah,
was Billie Eilish. That's why.
yeah, the
Mhm.
all the little kid or the little like kids and whatever dialogue. I don't
Yeah.
really whatever didn't really pay attention to, but
Yeah. Well, we got a lot of other things
mm,
to talk about that we have watched. The I think the big thing um that we should start with, um, yeah, I think the big thing we should start with is Deadpool. Don't you think?
yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
Let's
start off
start with
strong.
Deadpool. I don't know why the video is not playing, but let's get our visual context rectangle open. A new trailer dropped, and it's
Probably the
awesome.
yeah, probably the best trailer I've ever seen in my whole life. I watched it like 3 times a day. Like I just by not myself, but like I'm like,
Yeah,
guys, come watch this, and I like
right,
keep
right.
showing people it.
I watched it by myself.
Yeah,
It's fine.
it's so good.
Um, there's a lot of questions, but a lot of I guess a lot of answers too of what we're thinking. I think a lot of theories are right about this movie. There was a lot of rumors that the TVA would be involved, and we're seeing that in the trailer. By the way, should have started by saying this is a spoiler podcast. We're going to be spoiling stuff.
Yeah,
So, but it seems like that's early in the movie. So,
yeah,
if you don't want to be spoiled about stuff, there's going to be timestamps in the description. You can forward to the timestamp if you want to avoid spoilers. But we're going to be spoiling stuff in the MCU. So,
yeah.
um, the TVA. TVA is how Deadpool gets brought into the MCU.
I'll be honest, the way the intro of that trailer was like exactly what I needed. I was like, there's no way you're gonna have Deadpool fuck with time travel and not involve the TVA when you've made the TVA this huge thing through the
Yeah.
Marvel cinematic universe, but just from a TV show. I'm like, you can't give him that much power and then not bring Deadpool in. So very cool way to bring him in, especially when you see all the monitors and you see the TVA talking to him and you see Thor and Iron Man and the Hulk all on screen with Captain America. I was like, what? I
Yeah.
was like, this is it. He's in now. I was like, here we go. So super cool trailer.
It makes sense too because the end credits of the last movie, he was time traveling, so of
Right?
course
Yeah,
TVA would be involved, right?
yeah.
Um,
Which was crazy because a lot of people. It's been a while since we've seen Deadpool 2. So like when I remember the time traveling thing, and I was like, he has this like gauntlet bracelet thing from Cable,
yeah, Cable, yeah,
that allows him to do that. So when I saw the intro, I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot he brought everyone back to life." So we saw
yeah,
Papa Bear there with his mustache, looking fabulous.
yeah. That's
Um,
Peter,
yeah, Peter. We saw his wife is alive again,
which I think
and
actually go ahead. Sorry.
I don't remember. I can't remember if anybody else died, but then it was just nice.
Hmm.
The trailer starts off with his birthday party, and we see like
Yeah,
Colossus and
I
all the
actually
people
have it
that are.
here. So, because this is I guess I can't be very precise with this embedded YouTube, but yeah, we
Mhm.
got Negasonic Teenage Warhead and Yukio here.
Yeah, Yukio. I fucking love
Yeah.
Yukio. Yukio.
Um, and then we have. I'm gonna try to pause
As
it if I
Colossus there
can.
for a second.
Yeah, we have Buck.
Oh yeah, I
No
forgot
more
about Buck.
speaking
Yeah,
lines for Buck.
yeah.
Um, and we got I think his name is Shatterstar, I believe. Over here we got
Did he like and Dupinder?
yeah Dopinder and
Yeah,
Colossus,
yeah. Who's this?
and
Didn't Shatterstar die?
they
Did he
all
ever?
died. And
I
he
know, but
saved them all.
he saved every single person. I didn't think he
Yeah,
saved all of his friend, like everybody. I think got the blind lady as
yeah.
roommate. I love her.
And I think I'm actually gonna go through a few screenshotted stills of this trailer. so we
Yeah.
can talk about it. First of all, let's talk about the poster. This is the poster right here. Got a Deadpool
Perfect.
and Wolverine locket. It says "Best friends come together."
Perfect for Valentine's Day.
Yes, yes. I thought this movie was coming out in May, but I guess it's coming out in July, end of July. That
Yeah.
kind of sucks. Um, then we got some responses to the trailer. This is Ryan Reynolds saying, "Wait till you see those Deadpool popcorn buckets." You know what that's a reference to?
No, I don't.
There's a special popcorn buckets made for Dune, which are very sus. Right
Mm.
here.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's like an internet meme right now.
Yeah. Oh my
um,
goodness. Those were actual
those
popcorn buckets.
popcorn buckets you can buy right now if you go
You
to
put your
a
hands
certain
in
theaters.
those?
Yeah, put your hands or other things, whatever you
Or
want.
other things?
Uh,
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
we got Hugh Jackman posting. He fixed the title. So it's
Yeah,
Wolverine
Wolverine.
and asshole.
Yeah.
So let's go into the shots. I think just from these stills here,
Huh.
he says it's been a rough few years. Body language and just like dialogue in the intro, her saying "Make a wish, buddy." I think they got a divorce after he saved her. So I'm thinking that's why like maybe he's like depressed in this universe now, and then
Mm.
he's like gets the opportunity to join the MCU, which
I'm
is
wondering if they're. I was wondering if they're trying to have kids and they can't.
oh, that's a good point. That could be it too. Um,
I mean, she was at the birthday party, so it
yeah,
looked like
I
she was
think
there for that.
I think the depression route is kind of like on theme for like Deadpool. Like he
Hmm.
doesn't feel like he belongs. He wants to be in the MCU, so it's kind of like it reflects his real world life here.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you could be right. We got the TVA here, which they have like a brand new outfit. It looks like
Yeah.
upgraded. Um, looks like they're wearing body cams, so I approve.
Yeah.
All
Right.
cops should be wearing body cams. Um, we have a shot here that I noticed. He's wearing a blue shirt. Uh, he's wearing a name tag that says Wade, sales consultant. It
It
looks like
looks
he
like
has a job somewhere.
he looks like a Star Trek character there.
Oh yeah, kind of yeah. But yeah, he looks like he's in like
Yeah.
retail or something.
Hmm.
We got TVA, which TVA kind of looks slightly different too, but you know,
These
movie
look similar.
budget.
This looks this looks similar to me though.
Yeah,
But yeah,
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 same
definitely
sort of
just a
theme.
different blur. Yeah, that looks so
Um,
cool.
this is the shot from back of the head of a character they didn't really showcase anymore in the trailer.
Hmm.
I guess the theory is online that this is Professor X's crazy sister, Cassandra Nova,
It's a
who,
female.
yeah,
Oh my goodness.
who
Uh,
is an insane X-Men villain. So it'd be interesting. I don't really know what kind of role or like aspect she would bring to what we already know about this movie.
Right.
So I think it's a weird villain choice, but it is a good villain to choose, I think. So
Okay. Do you think we're gonna see Professor X at all in this? Because
yes.
because I was like, he died in Logan. Is this supposed to be before
Who
Logan? I
cares?
guess. I was gonna
I
say, yeah, I
don't
was like,
think
it's
Logan
that's all no.
matters. I don't think
Yeah.
Logan matters at all.
No, I was like, gonna say, I was like, it's gotta be. It's time travel, so we'll probably
Yeah.
see him. I was like, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
think I think what's Patrick Stewart's just in interviews seems like
uh,
he's having fun with the interviews, but
yeah.
also I feel like he's like if Marvel's like, "Hey, can we have you?" He'd be like, "Yeah, sure." But I feel like the the vibes he's giving off is that he's gonna appear at again at some point. This is the obvious movie, which is gonna be.
Just on the thing of Patrick Stewart, can I ask, did you watch that commercial he did for Paramount Plus?
Yep.
Was it so fun? That was so funny, man. That was like one of the funniest things I ever watched.
um, I saw this shot here. I don't know if he's like waking up or what's going on. Seems like in a dinosaur mouth.
Yeah, or
That's
like
like a
like a
jaw or
dragon's
something.
mouth or something. Yeah, I don't know.
There's a
Looks like
place in X-Men called the Savage Land. I guess in
Yeah.
Marvel in general, where dinosaurs still roam. There's more like prehistoric kind of themed characters and heroes and stuff there.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if this has anything to do with
Hmm.
that.
Do you know the runtime of the new Deadpool movie?
No, I
We
don't
don't
think
know. Yeah.
I don't think that information's out there.
Hmm.
This is what gave all the nerds boners. Back of the head shot of what looks like Wolverine.
Yeah.
This is his alter ego Patch that he assumes when he goes to Madripoor, which we've seen Madripoor in the Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Okay.
Um, yeah, he's just like a gambling Wolverine.
Hmm.
Um, and then we have Deadpool in an elevator here. It says
One of the best suit up scenes I've ever
yeah,
watched.
943. I'm assuming that's Universe 943. And I meant to look it up, but I never did, so I'm looking it up right now. Let's see, Earth 943, because I'm wondering if we've seen this in so for the first thing came up is the comics, which says Homeworld of the Gatherers Jocasta, which is like a android, kind of like Ultron. Um, so I don't know if we've seen Earth 943 in the MCU.
Okay.
I just thought that's what that probably means. So I think he's visiting like that timeline and
Sure.
fucking shit up. This shot looks familiar to me. I don't know if it looks familiar to
Yes.
you.
Yes. It was the first thing I thought of, and then the internet has absolutely thought of the same thing. Now, we've been led astray with stuff like that before. It
Yep.
could be completely unrelated,
Mm-hmm.
but it absolutely looks like the beginning of Age of Ultron. That
Mm-hmm.
the internet, if you haven't already seen it already, the internet has pretty much been like, "That's definitely the opening scene for sure."
Makes sense
So
because the TVA was showing him shots from Age of Ultron.
it was showing him
And
shots
that's
of. It was showing him shots of different stuff though too, like that. I
yeah,
remember
he
that.
was, but there was a
Yeah.
lot of Age of Ultron shots. Two of the three shots here are Age of Ultron.
Okay, yeah, that one of the Hulk. That's him in. I
When they
think
were
that's the one.
jumping over in that scene. Like those two shots are
Yeah.
from that scene if that's what we think it is.
Okay. Yeah. Then we
Yeah.
have that one's Thor from Ragnarok for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought that Iron Man one was the. I think you're right. I think
He
that's
was
the intro. Yeah.
attacking what's that character's name? Uh Baron von Strucker. He's attacking his
His
place.
castle. His
Yeah,
castle.
while the other Avengers were in that
Yeah.
forest.
See, I didn't put that together really quickly with the Hulk. Yeah, I can see what you're saying. That's the scene when the Hulk is jumping over the thing. I
Hmm.
thought because of how angry he looked there, I thought that was when he was going rogue, and Iron Man had to
Oh
fight
no,
him.
no. There's other Avengers behind him that are
Yeah, yeah,
it's that epic shot that starts the movie.
yeah, yeah. I remember what you're talking about. They're all like jumping over a log or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that I mean, what's the obvious answer there? If that's what it is, they're like he's there
Could
to save Quicksilver. Do you think that's what it is? Because that's what I think it is. I think that's how they're
yeah,
gonna bring Quicksilver back into the MCU.
maybe. Yeah, so we got the same quote.
Yeah.
So that'd be pretty sweet. That would be cool if we could if we could bring the speedster back. That would be
Also,
awesome. But that's not the scene
Wanda.
that Quicksilver dies though.
No,
As soon
no,
as like
but I mean he's going back in time to
to when he was still
that's
alive.
where he's living. Yeah. I mean also Wanda because Wanda's presumably dead too.
I was wondering if he needed like there's okay, yeah. Yeah, that could be that like the only reason that would make sense to me, I guess, because my
Mhm.
thought was like maybe he's going to steal the Tesseract, but the TVA has already shown that they have tons of Infinity Stones that they do
Yeah.
not need. So
Yeah.
um, I don't know what else you'd go there for. So yeah, that could be a good. That's an interesting theory.
I mean, we've seen in other things, mostly What If, that the Infinity Stones work in other timelines, but
Yeah,
not in the TVA. So
not in the TVA.
it's
No.
specifically the TVA. But the TVA has a power dampening thing. Remember, we had a whole
Yeah,
discussion on that. So, um,
which is the most probably has to be the most powerful thing in the universe. If you can just
yeah.
dampen the power of
Well,
Infinity
yeah, the
Stones, and
TVA seems to be the most powerful thing in existence. Yeah.
now it's Loki.
Now it's Loki. Yeah.
Now it's Loki.
We got the 20th Century Fox logo destroyed behind him,
Amazing. Looks
which
so
is
good.
awesome. And I think just everything we're seeing from this trailer, I think this is going to be what I was expecting before, a Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe adaptation.
Yeah.
I think everything from 20th Century Fox and other properties are being destroyed or killed to just make things just like one cohesive thing
Yeah.
for the MCU. And then we get a shot here. There's a few things here. First of all, everybody's thinking this is the void at the end of time from Loki.
Hmm.
Because we're seeing a bunch of just random shit. The number one thing though is it seems like Alioth is what swoops in and kills this guy. So
I don't remember that actually in the trailer, so
yeah, this is the next shot. So this is a screenshot. I can't forward it, but the next shot.
right, right.
Do you see the like, little purple cloud here?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it like picks him up and like lifts him up, and Deadpool's like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah. I'll be honest, the trailer goes very fast, so it is
Yes.
hard to pick out other things. I didn't like pick it down. Honestly, I was
Yeah.
just along for the ride. I was kind of looking at characters I already knew.
I
I
was going
wasn't
through.
trying to
I was going through
wasn't
shots.
trying to decipher any new characters because I don't want it to be too spoiled. I just wanted to
Right.
be entertained. So I wasn't breaking it down this much, but
Well, one thing I think that kind of just furthers that theory is there's a little like a hat right here. That's the
yeah.
top of an ice cream truck, which we've seen in like the exact same one in Moon
Mm,
Knight.
hmm,
So
interesting.
so yeah, it seems like it might be the void at the end of time is where he's fighting. Um and I don't know if you saw this.
I did, yeah.
You know who that is?
It's the I forget his name. Is that Pyro? It's the fire guy,
It's
right?
Pyro. Yeah.
Pyro,
In a
yeah.
very pyro like costume.
Yeah, it
Um
looks awesome.
yeah, I missed that at first. I'm like, holy shit.
Oh, I saw it there. I didn't know who the actor was, and then
Yeah.
I saw like the internet fixed it for me like immediately when
Yeah.
I was like when I clicked on comments, somebody had done like him aging through the years, and then that was him, and I was like, oh, cool, Pyro's back.
Yeah.
So
Um which I think we're gonna see other X-Men show up too,
yeah,
probably.
God,
Uh
this ending was the best.
yes. But before that, on the
Yeah,
left there, we get a cover of Secret Wars, which is where all this is leading up to.
yeah,
And I think what we've talked about before is this seems to be like the next big movie that kind of pushes the Secret Wars plot
mm,
further.
yeah,
So I think we're going to get more answers about the incursions, more answers about where this stuff is leading, all while being contained in a hilarious R-rated movie.
yeah.
And then we got the shot of Wolverine,
Oh, so good. That's so funny.
which I think a lot of people were complaining about, like, where's his mask? It looks like it's a hood behind him, so I
Hmm.
think he just puts a
Yeah.
hood over and he has his mask.
You're not gonna cover Hugh Jackman's face. What are you
No,
nuts?
I think he's gonna have his face most of the time, but like
Yeah, that's what I'm
just for
saying. You're
like
not.
the fan,
That's what I'm
you
saying. We're
know,
not gonna. I could put the mask on. That's
yeah.
crazy.
You gotta have Wolverine's never had the iconic mask once. It's
We
been
could.
teased in a deleted scene
Mhm.
from the Wolverine, the second Wolverine movie.
Yeah,
But he's never actually worn it, so it looks like he's finally going to wear it at some point in the movie.
it'd be cool to see it on, like in this movie, and then like maybe him and Deadpool. Obviously, they don't know each other yet. They get into a fight. Maybe he shoots him in the face, and it breaks his
Yeah,
mask, and then he heals. That'd be cool. But just to have it on for the moment, and
yeah.
then we don't have to cover beautiful Hugh Jackman's face at all.
Yeah, that's all the shots from the movie. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. It's gonna be
Yeah.
awesome. Um, big news happened today.
Oh yeah, it does. On for Valentine's Day today, we got a sneak peek at
From
Fantastic
Fantastic
Forecast.
Forecasting. So I have them
Yeah.
right here. So this is Pedro Pascal. We already knew this as Reed Richards. We've talked about this before.
Oh
It
my
was a
goodness,
big
he's so
rumor.
handsome. Yeah, he
Yeah.
looks great.
We got Vanessa Kirby, right?
Yeah, Vanessa
as
Kirby.
Sue Storm. I think awesome casting choice for this.
Yeah.
Um, so definitely looking forward to that. I think it's gonna be much better than Jessica Alba playing like early 2000s typical oh, she's the wife of the superhero role, right?
Yeah.
This is no, she's a superhero. So I think this is a huge step up because she's a big action star.
Yeah.
Uh, so we got I don't have the names in front of me from the other
Joseph
ones.
Quinn.
Joseph Quinn
Joseph Quinn
as
as
Johnny Storm,
Jenny Storm.
aka Human Torch. I should have said Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, Sue Storm, Invisible Woman. We got Human Torch here, and we got what's his name?
His name is I don't know, I might pronounce this wrong, but his name is Abon Moss Bachrach.
Yeah,
But I couldn't I it's a lot of C and H's, so Bachrach.
technically not his first time in the MCU. He
Yeah.
has played Micro in Punisher.
Hmm.
But he's playing Ben Grimm, aka the Thing, and the number one thing that I care about, or if this actor is the right role for this character, is that he has blue eyes.
Is that very
So,
significant to the thing at
yes,
least? Yeah.
yes, he's the ever-loving blue-eyed Thing.
Yeah, but he is honestly, he is a great actor. I loved him as Micro.
Yep,
Uh, if you've watched The Bear, he was phenomenal in it.
yep.
Fantastic show. But he has the right anger management, uh, like anger
Mhm.
issues that I think that he can portray very well.
Oh,
In
good,
voice
yeah.
acting the
Can you
thing.
do like
So
the Thing voice? Because I don't know
I've
if I've heard it.
he gets very angry a lot in
Like deep,
The
gruffy
Bear.
voice.
Yeah, like the bear. If you watch the bear, I
Yeah,
think now, if I watch that again, I will try to,
yeah,
think of him as the thing. I out of everybody, I love Pedro Pascal. I
yeah.
have the most hope for him as the thing because he is. Um, I think he's got the right voice to play the thing and the right like he can portray anger very well.
What about like
Um,
a thick New York accent? You think he can
I
do that?
I think he does. He did a Boston accent very well, unless he
Yeah.
is from Boston. But
Okay.
I don't know much about him personally. Just the things I've seen him in, I've
Yeah.
always loved him. Um,
Yeah.
but
Good
yeah,
choice.
he's fantastic. The Johnny Storm guy was great in
Stranger
only
Things
thing.
or
Yeah, the only thing I can know him from is Stranger Things. Yeah, he was only in the I think the latest season,
Mhm.
and everybody fell in love with his character. He was phenomenal. He was really well done. Um, I don't know much about Kirby. I've seen stuff that she's in, but I can't
Yeah,
off the top
I've
of my
seen
head.
what's her IMDb because I feel like I've seen her in a few things. I know
Um, my
Hobbs and Shaw.
yeah, I see. I didn't watch that. And my girlfriend loves The Crown, so I know she's probably super stoked about this because she sent me this link today.
Oh yeah.
And then yeah, Pedro Pascal. I love everything he's in so far.
Mhm.
So just seeing him in the Fantastic Four outfit, like I hate to like
Yes, Mission. Oh no, wait, that's the newer one. I've seen her in an Mission Impossible movie. I don't think I've seen. Yeah, Fallout's probably the
she's in
one.
the Fallout. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Hobbs and Shaw. I feel like there's
this
something else I've seen her in, but yeah.
this cast looks great. The only thing I'm nervous about is the writing. The writing has to be great,
I
and
don't
the
think that's gonna be a
CGI has
problem.
to be.
Like, who's writing it? We know who's writing it, right? It's someone who has is a staple in the MCU.
Oh, that's good. That's relief. That's
For
relief.
oh
Then the
yeah,
only other problem I have is that I hope that they have a budget enough good for CGI. Because if it's bad CGI on these
yeah.
characters, I won't like. It'll be hard to go back and watch. Like the thing better look good. Um,
That's the question, right? Because
yeah,
we're at a time where special effects in Marvel movies and just rushed
yeah,
movies in general have not been great, and we've had
yeah.
that discussion before. So who knows?
I think that's why I'm scared because it's a clashing of being rushed movies
Yeah,
and the Fantastic Four has had three or two variants that are just been okay. Like they've never taken off or been like they're not winning any awards. They're not making a ton at the box office. So
yeah.
like that's why I'm the most scared. So the cast looks great. We got a writer who sounds great. I don't know anything
Yeah,
about the writer.
writers are Josh Friedman and Jeff Kaplan. I
Okay.
think Jeff Kaplan's the one who's been writing a lot of MCU stuff. Um,
Do
let
you have
me
any
see.
examples?
I'm trying to pull it up, but
Yeah.
I
So
don't
that
see
so
it.
that sounds good. What I need now is make sure it's good visual effects because you
Yeah.
can write all you want, but if your rubber arms look stupid and your rocks look like your rocks better look a little bit better than Korg. Like I don't know how
Mm.
much I can more take of like the of Korg's. Like Korg doesn't look terrible, but I want the
Yeah, what's wrong
thing
with
to look.
Korg?
Korg's I don't know. Just I don't want a silly rock this time. He better be an angry
Thanks.
rock. All right, we got our silly talking rock. I want my angry rock, and he better look good.
IMDb has non-MCU roles or like writing things. I can't find shit actually. I don't know. I don't know.
Just
I have faith.
uh
I have faith.
yeah.
Uh,
I have faith. I'm just nervous.
yeah,
I have faith.
I
I'm
think they have
hoping
the
this
right people
cast
on
can
this.
carry everything, but yeah, I am nervous. I have a question though.
Yeah,
In the first time when we saw the Fantastic Four, remember how I don't remember if it's Doctor Doom or if it's one of the or someone helps the Thing. Remember he's able to transform back from the Thing into
yeah,
Ben, and
yeah.
then he has to transform back again. Is that something that like he does often in the comic books? Has that ever been a thing that he can do, or is that just something they did for the movie?
They did it a few times, in different scenarios, in different
Yeah.
universes. So the the most prominent time I can think of, something happened to the character, and I don't remember what the circumstances led up to it,
Hmm.
but I think he had the ability to transform back into Ben Grimm once a year or something like that. So like he could only do it once a year, so he had to like
Hmm.
pick an appropriate time to do that.
Yeah.
Um, I know in the Ultimate Universe, which I think is the first time I've seen him do that. Again, I don't remember the events that led up to it, but he was sort of like transformed and like it was kind of like a cocoon, his rock form, and he burst out into like this purple, like sort of like cosmic kind of um form. You want me to fix a green screen?
Sure.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Yeah. I don't know where you're gonna move the camera, but okay. Um yeah, so he's done it a few times, but like I don't think any of that really matters in terms of what they would do with the MCU if they decide to go that route. I don't think they will though.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just curious if that was something because like it seemed they made it look so easy in the thing, and then I was like,
It
that's just
wasn't
what's
it wasn't easy though because in that movie, from what I remember, Doctor Doom tricked Ben Grimm to voluntarily go into machine to
right.
cure him, use that opportunity to eliminate
Attack his
a
friends.
threat to attack his friends. So yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I just meant like the way how it worked so well. I was like, you just transformed a
Yeah.
person from
It's
straight
also
human flesh into rock. So I was
yeah,
like,
it was
that's
also a cheesy movie. So like
yeah. That's why I was like, I don't know. That seemed like something they just did for to have I don't know, just for the plot. But
yeah,
um, yeah. Anyways, good cast. Uh,
looking
I'm
forward to it.
now way more excited for this movie than I have been for a while. So
Do you think we're gonna get Doctor Doom as the villain in this movie, or do you think they're gonna go a
I
different route?
think I think I would be happy if they did like I think we talked about this before. I think I would be happy if they did somebody else first, and maybe like if they do it like if they do the whole intro again where they get their powers and we see because Doctor Doom gets his powers at the same time they do,
Yeah,
correct? Yeah,
yeah. In
so
most adaptations, I think. Yeah,
it would be cool if they kind of did something like the last one where Doctor Doom is left on that planet and he's stewing and he's pissed at them for leaving him there.
yeah.
And then maybe the sequel, when they try to do like a rescue mission, they find like Doctor Doom is like rule the planet or whatever. And then now we have more interest in that character.
Sure.
I want to have, I want to get to know the Doctor Doom as like a good guy first. And then once he's just like, then we've just like, we've seen him like go through like all the elements, then I will care for him more as a villain because I never really care for the Doctor Doom villain that much. I think he's super powerful and all that. I get it, but he's never been one that I cared for as a great villain. So if you can make me fall in love with the actor,
Yeah,
and then later I'm like, oh yeah, he's pissed. Like let me. let me feel his rage, and then I'll probably be more interested,
Yeah,
more
I think
interested
if
in him.
you're like more an avid reader of the comics, you like understand
Yeah,
how great of a villain Doctor Doom is.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, he's like if he's not the biggest Marvel villain, he's at least one of like the top
right,
for
right, for
sure.
sure. He's one of the ones I knew the most before even the
Yeah,
MCU was became a what was on screen. I
yeah,
think I had a Doctor Doom toy when I was little, but I want to see him. I want to see these guys all become their own person first, and then I want to see the villain probably for a sequel because it would make would make the
yeah.
sequel more hyped. If you use Doctor Doom right away, I don't even know who any of their other villains are other than like
Mole
Galactus.
Man,
Yeah,
Mole
see, no,
Man.
yeah, Danny DeVito.
No, the biggest thing would be the other bigger one would be Galactus. They're
Yeah,
doing well.
Galactus and sort of Silver Surfer, who's like their ally later. Like
Yeah.
those are like the only characters I know from Fantastic Four. So
I think I'm a little torn on this because Marvel typically when they have the rights back to a movie, they try to stray away from what has already been shown on screen before and go with
yeah,
something new. So, I think Fantastic Four could be the exception because of first of all how big the Fantastic Four is,
yeah,
but also how big Doctor Doom is and how um I don't know, maybe they're like we need the character right now, like we need to introduce him in the kind of story that we're telling.
yeah,
So maybe they want to like fast track Doctor Doom, and it seems like the best place to do that would be the origin story. I don't think they're going to be doing an origin story, by the way, because that's also another thing that Marvel strays away from, and we've had two Fantastic Four origin stories already,
yeah,
technically three, because there was that um quickly made for movie but never shown until like more recently movie just to hold on to the rights before the actual first movie that we saw.
yeah,
So yeah, I think Marvel's gonna be like, this is the Fantastic Four, they've existed, here's like a brief like um on-screen explanation, like they just talk about it or whatever to explain how they're here, but most audiences know the story of
right.
Fantastic Four. uh
Yeah, that's how kind of what I thought was gonna happen
yeah,
too, and I'd be fine with that. Just give me like a brief rundown, like just if you could just I don't know, play a video and like here we found footage of what happened to all of us, and now
the
we're using our
Incredible Hulk
powers.
style.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, we're gonna quickly run through a bunch of major news.
cool.
Mostly, I don't even have the documents open here.
Oh,
Mostly a bunch of Daredevil news.
okay, yeah, I
So
saw that.
we have a lot of stuff we know about Daredevil Born Again. Eldon Henson and Deborah Ann Wool played Foggy Nelson and Karen Page respectively, are returning to the series now that we know everything's confirmed canon. Um,
Okay,
I see a lot of behind the scenes shots like that our people are taking in my social feeds. So I've seen them just like show up like acting and stuff. So yeah, they are definitely in it, and they seem to be filming a lot of stuff with them.
yeah,
Um, cool. Um, we have Vincent D'Onofrio talked about Marvel's decision to pivot, because I've seen a lot of people say like, oh, Marvel like never intended everything to be canon,
yeah,
and I'm like, there's no, everybody's just jumping to conclusions, there's nothing that says that.
yeah,
Vincent D'Onofrio gave the impression that that was the case. So initially Marvel was going to brush off the Netflix series as not
yeah.
canon, and I'm glad they didn't, because that's a horrible mistake.
Oh, that makes sense for them. They're like the lower, we don't need to, there's no way they need to be talked about in the big movies and stuff because
Yeah,
you got like a blind guy and a guy who's just bulletproof. Like they're not going to be fighting aliens and stuff, but
yeah,
I still think like I still the act it's they make great they make great series. Like all of them are pretty good. I think I
yeah.
liked everything. Even
But I
Iron
think,
Fist I know gets like a bad rap. I still
yeah,
enjoyed it the whole time I watched it. So,
yeah. But I think the bigger issue is that they're just like going to not just ignore what happened in the series, but like contradict stuff, right?
right.
Like saying like, no, this is a completely different series. Forget it existed. Don't even bother. We're doing everything fresh and new, which I think is a terrible choice. I think that's just gonna confuse people more, especially when you have the entire series on Disney Plus, and you're like, if you like this character and this actor, the algorithm's gonna tell you to watch more Daredevil, right? And you're gonna be
Right.
like, what the fuck? Everything's different. Um, so I think it's a good idea that they switched over to keeping everything as it was. Um, and then this was way beyond when I put it on the dock, but yeah, Daredevil production has started again. Cool. Um, it actually I should go back. Maybe there's something else in that article that I wanted to bring up. I don't remember, but the more important thing here is that it's going to be shorter. It was originally
Yeah.
planned as 18 episodes. The it seems like it's going to be somewhere shorter than 18. I think I read that it was maybe 13,
Hmm.
which is closer to the amount of episodes that the Netflix series had. I don't know how you feel about that.
That's fine. Honestly, I have too many shows to watch. I
I
love
know.
Daredevil, and the
Yeah,
shows were great, but I don't think I need 18 of them.
I don't. I'm
Like
so
10, like
happy.
10,
Make it
10's a
shorter.
solid.
Yeah,
10's good.
make it
10's
shorter
good.
than 13. I don't need 13. You want to bring it down to
Yeah.
6? I'm fine. Just make it
Yeah.
like the rest of the
As
Disney
long as
Plus
they're all
shows.
good and it tells the story really well. Like
Yeah,
what was this first season of Daredevil? Do you remember how many episodes it was?
yeah. I think they were about 13.
About 13? Yeah,
Yeah.
13 to 10, I'm fine with. That's a good
I think
that's
the only difference. So there's the Defender show, which was a short amount of episodes. Like it was much shorter than the other ones.
I thought it was like I wasn't like 5. I thought it was really short.
Yeah,
I
it
could
was
be
really
wrong.
short. But then I think one of the seasons of maybe Iron Fist, I think maybe it was the second one, was like 12 episodes instead of 13, if I
Mm,
remember correctly. So it's like the only one that's different, but I think otherwise they've all been 13.
yeah, that's fine.
Hmm.
18 is a lot.
Yes, it is. Huge news though. Wilson Bethel is going to be returning as Bullseye, and this was like the number one thing I wanted because they
Yeah.
ended season 3 with him like being
Wait, wait,
fixed.
wait, wait. I didn't watch season 3 of Daredevil
Fuck me,
yet.
I didn't know that.
I didn't watch it yet.
Okay,
I gotta watch it because I know it has
as Bullseye.
Bullseye in it, but I didn't watch it. I mean, you should. I mean, it's if whatever. If the spoiler isn't crazy, you can go ahead
No,
and
no,
go.
no, I'm not.
Okay, okay.
I'm excited he's coming back.
I want to watch this. I just I'm waiting
Yeah,
for Jess to we're finishing up our shows, and then I'm
yeah,
gonna try and get her to watch the all the Netflix stuff again because
yeah.
she loved the
We just
Punisher.
finished all of them, so
Yeah, she loved the Punisher season 1 and
mhm,
2. She said she tried Daredevil years ago and didn't like get into it, but I
yeah.
was like, well, now they're all canon, so we got to watch them all. So
There you go.
yeah,
This is a great villain and
yeah,
great
it's
actor
good.
for the role, and yeah, it's going to be. I've
It's
seen
good.
actually I've seen some behind the scenes recording of fight scenes that he's in with Daredevil,
Yeah. What was
so
the
I'm looking
name?
forward to that.
Who's the guy that did Bullseye in the movie with Ben
Colin
Affleck?
Farrell.
Well, yeah, Colin Farrell. I thought I couldn't remember his name. He's the
Yeah,
Penguin now, right, in the DC universe.
yeah,
Yeah, he's a great Penguin, but his Bullseye was so silly.
yeah. um, yeah. What's next on the docket here? Oh yeah. Um, Tatiana Maslany was interviewed
Oh yeah,
about She-Hulk season 2. She said
yeah.
it's unlikely because they blew their budget, and it's
Oh,
a
did
very
they?
expensive show to make. So I
Just
understand.
why was it so expensive? Because of
A
her
lot of CG,
green,
a
a lot
lot
of
of
her green
special
CG.
effects.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the
they didn't
CG
make their money back
didn't
on
really
that.
hold didn't really hold up very well.
Oh
Um,
no.
but I think it's because it was rushed. I
Yeah,
just
I
think the
know.
series was rushed. Um,
That's I feel bad for her because that like you get your character,
mhm,
you're gonna be a Marvel superhero, you're gonna get your own show. I've never seen anything with this actress in it ever before, and then half the people like it's almost everybody I know is like, yeah, She Hulk was either bad or they didn't even bother watching it. It's the one that everybody skips. I feel
mhm,
bad. That sucks because I myself only watched 2 episodes, so I feel
yeah.
really bad. I will watch it one day, like I did Miss Marvel,
Yep.
or yeah, but it'll be a little bit.
Um, yeah, I can understand. I understand why some people don't like the show. I thought it was a good show.
Yeah.
There's one episode I hated. But I thought it was a pretty good show. I like it because it's an MCU comedy, and I want to see more MCU comedies because I realize that like playing around in that world
Yeah.
and just like making jokes about everything that you like think of but like don't really think of, and just like making light of everything. I really like that sort of concept. So
Is it is it near your least favorite out of all the TV shows so far, or where does it rank on your list of all
I
the
gotta
new
look at all.
Marvel shows?
I gotta look at the new Marvel shows. So all like
Yeah.
the Marvel Studios shows.
Yeah, we're not gonna the ones that are on Disney Plus. We don't need to go to the Netflix ones. All the Netflix
Sure,
ones
sure.
are pretty good, but just like
What are all
what would be worse than that? Like
things?
we
Good.
got Miss Marvel, we got
Yeah.
Captain America and the Falcon, or
Mm-hmm.
Winter Soldier and Falcon. We
Yeah.
got Moon Knight,
Yeah.
Loki, WandaVision,
I think this
and
was at my
Hawkeye
bottom.
the bottom.
I did have a list. I don't think I'm gonna be able to pull it up quickly.
Yeah, I know they're all
Um,
different. They're all different, you know, whatever. But which one would this be one of the ones you watch the least amount over any of those other ones?
I would say yes,
Yeah.
but if I'm like rewatching this, I'm there's like probably gonna be some episodes that's like I'm not gonna bother with that episode. I'm
Okay.
rewatching it for specific things, right?
Yeah.
Um, this is at the bottom of my list. Like not looking at a list of the Disney Plus shows because I can't
Yeah.
think of everything off the top of my head. But that's not a bad thing because I liked everything. I like She-Hulk.
Yeah.
It's just the other
It's
shows are
different.
better.
It's
Yeah.
this one's more comedy. The other ones are all like whatever.
Yeah, and I'm not saying
Yeah.
like if Marvel puts out a comedy that it's
Yeah.
going to be at the bottom of the list. Like I might like a comedy the most, and this is a great like
Right.
introduction to that. It's like, oh yeah, maybe I want to see more of this.
Right.
But I did have a lot of problems with the show as well.
Mm.
Not saying that it ruined the show for me. It's just that I found the other shows to be better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many episodes does that have again? I need to watch it. Is
Six,
that
I
like
think.
8?
No, no, wait.
6?
It was a half hour. Was it a half hour show? So I think it had 9,
Okay.
8 or 9. I don't
I
know.
remember it having like more than 6 because I could have swore I remember it was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
it's still going. Like it was like
It
months.
also expanded the world of the MCU in very weird ways. So so
God damn, I gotta
it's kind
watch
of
it. I
funny.
know. I gotta watch
Um,
it.
okay, so let's move on. We got some teasers in the next season of What If, which by the way, did you know Marvel released like a scene on YouTube after the series? Like it's not even an end credits thing. They're like, "Hey, on YouTube, here's a shot that we didn't keep for season 2 and it's going to be in season 3." It's
I
like,
did not know that.
no, okay. So yeah, that's on YouTube if you want to watch that.
I will
Um
have to watch. Yeah, I'll have to watch that one.
but
Interesting.
here's some teasers of what we might see for season 3
Of What If? Wow,
of What If, yeah.
cool.
Um so
I guess.
Sam Wilson as Captain America with I don't know who's behind him. But this is Monica Rambeau, looks like, for in a very comics inspired outfit, not like we've seen in the MCU for her Photon or whatever her character's name was in the Marvels. Um,
Professor Marvel.
yeah,
So this is
that's
like.
right, that's right. Uh, we have it looks like a Gundam Marvel episode, which this show's just weird, man.
Yeah. They're just exploring other things to see. I
Yeah,
honestly, I feel like What If is like them exploring other things to see what people like,
yeah,
and then they're like, maybe if it's really, really good, we'll put it on the big screen. But you
maybe,
know,
yeah, yeah. I don't know
could
if I
be.
want to see this on big screen, to be honest, but
No, it's okay. That looks like a giant Captain America,
yeah.
as like as a Pacific Rim
Yeah.
Jaeger.
Yeah, maybe they're fighting so that's not out of the question because in the
Some
Marvel
kaiju's.
comics, yeah, in the
Yeah,
Marvel comics there's like kaijus and shit that they have to fight
yeah.
sometimes. So, you never know. Um we have this scene as with looks like the Red Guardian and Winter Soldier,
Hmm.
and I think that might be it. Nope, there's another one where I don't know if that's Goliath or Ant-Man, but it's picking up Winter Soldier or I mean Red Guardian.
Red Guardian, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's all. They're just giving us some like quick teases for what if.
Yeah.
I think I have stuff just put here in a specific order. I don't know. Um,
Well, while you have that on, I might as well just bring up, is that have something to do with Vision Quest?
I have it titled Vision Quest because I didn't know what else to put this under. Vision Quest
Okay.
is a. I don't think it's a confirmed Marvel series in production, but it's
Right.
pretty much confirmed in production. Um, but Paul
Because you
Bettany
have.
was
Sorry, go. No, read that. Yeah.
sure. Paul Bettany was asked in a panel, "Hey, we're gonna see more of the Vision," and he pretty much said, "Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna be coming back."
So do you think he'll be coming back as Vision or be coming back as this guy, the White Vision, or whatever his name is?
This is Vision though. I like how
It's
everybody calls him White Vision.
well, I don't know. It's Vision
Yeah,
without color. So this is Vision. So this is like the undead Vision. Like, why is he white? Because he doesn't have his color anymore. Is this him without the soul,
because
without the souls, whatever you call it, the Mind Stone?
yeah, he doesn't have the Mind Stone. Sword basically brought him back to life, reanimated him, and
Yeah.
he just had his memories unlocked by the fake Vision, the
Yeah.
Wanda created Vision.
All right.
So
So
yeah,
undead Vision. Do we think that's what he means by he'll be coming back?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was wondering if we were gonna
So
see like something else with Vision at all, but
nope.
we'll have him. Oh man, that's crazy to be dead and then have be brought back to life and then have memories of your prior life. So
Yeah, I mean that happened to Wolverine in the comics. I
yeah,
mean, like he then, well, he yeah woke up with different memories, lived the whole life like
I
not
mean, it
knowing who he
technically
is,
happened
and
to
then
Loki. Yeah,
yep,
yeah,
yeah.
kind of happened to Loki, kind of.
What else we got here? Yeah, Jeremy Renner is a badass, or maybe he's just like way too ambitious. I don't know, but he's basically down to return as Hawkeye. He's like, yeah, when I'm ready, I'm gonna be strong enough, and I'm gonna be back as Hawkeye.
Very cool. I'm
Um,
not, I'm not done with him. I want to see more Jeremy
yeah, but
Renner. I love.
I'm also concerned, like, hey man, if you're not ready, that's
Yeah,
okay. Like, you need to fucking heal. But he's like doing shit. I'm like, are you
yeah.
kidding? How many bones did he get crushed?
I don't know. He almost
Like,
lost his leg and then had like a year of
he
therapy
almost
for
lost his
of walking.
life.
Yeah, well, that
Yeah.
too. But they are,
God
yeah,
damn.
yeah. That's a
Uh,
hero, man. He got
yeah.
back up.
Josh Brolin says he hears through the grapevines that Thanos is going to return.
Now, when I read this, I was actually really intrigued that you put that in the like the extra stuff because I was honestly I don't know why, but like the other day I was just like I was watching Endgame again. I was like, I wonder if we'll see Thanos again. Like it would be really cool to see him again, not just in What If, just like in a different universe. It would be pretty cool to see Thanos. Like
Yeah.
I love him so much. Like Josh Brolin, Josh Brolin could read me a bedtime story. Like I love his voice so much. So like I really want to see him again.
The answer to any question regarding are we going to see this character again
Hmm.
would be right now is the time, and that time would be for Secret Wars.
Yeah.
The only time it would make sense. So if you have a character in your head saying like, I wonder if we're going to see them again.
Yeah.
If we are, it's going to be in Secret Wars.
It's gonna be Deadpool's fault.
Yeah.
That would be sweet. Because he actually, it's funny because he mentioned Cable as Thanos in his
Yeah,
timeline.
because
So it'd
it's
be,
the same actor.
yeah, yeah. So that's why I think it would be hilarious if they brought Thanos back and then they made a Cable joke. Like I know there's something there, and I want to see it.
What else we got? We got Bob Iger saying that basically this is, Marvel's going to focus on stuff that works, like the more popular franchises, and not going to be doing as many experimental stuff, which upsets me because when you think about it, like what's popular right now was not popular when they came out. Guardians of
Yeah.
the Galaxy, Doctor Strange, um, like even like Black Panther, Captain Marvel, like anything like that. Even Iron Man, like that wasn't the big hitter until it was released, right?
But yeah,
So it's
but
like
it
if
was
you're
also
not
stuff I
taking
knew.
chances,
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but I knew more of that stuff more than I knew Miss Marvel and She-Hulk and
Sure. Yeah.
Madam Web. So I think they're just going too niche all at once. So I think they need to have a couple heavy hitters, introduce a new character. A couple heavy hitters, introduce a new
Yeah.
character. Like Shang-Chi, they did so well. I didn't know who
Hmm.
Shang-Chi was ever. So to bring me the 10 rings, I've only heard of the 10 rings, which I didn't even know what those were. So to actually see like the 10 rings, and you said like the bracelets are different, right? Weren't they normally actually like rings in the comics?
Yeah. They're rings that you
Yeah.
had on your fingers.
Yeah, so to have them as bracelets, cool new idea. Definitely cooler than like playing with your
Yeah.
fingers. Like the bracelets are sweet. So like they gotta do stuff like that. Be a little bit more creative, bring a character fully to life. Cause I think they've been doing too many series to try and
Yeah.
bring someone to life with
Yeah.
not enough budget, and then it just kind of falls flat and people are like, ah, we see
Yeah.
them now, and they're not that great. So
I'm
um
in the minority here. I get it. I feel like it's fine what they're doing right now, doing a mixture of here's a sequel to something you already know, and then here's a new thing.
yeah, I
Um,
would yeah.
but like even the stuff that we already know, not a guaranteed success because we had Love and Thunder, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. But even Thor 2 wasn't great. I think Thor
Yeah.
works better with other like I think he works better with other characters. Like him on his own wasn't
He does.
like
That's not necessarily true though, because Thor is a great character, and there's great stories in the comics and everything. And the Gore the God Butcher story was like the big one. It's like
yeah.
that could have been done great, and it wasn't.
I think it's just
So
because maybe they just went too silly with his character. Maybe
yeah,
that's why. Because like when
that's the
he's
thing. It's
introduced,
like it's not so much like I think what's
yeah,
established and what's new. It's that maybe you're not taking things in the right direction.
maybe because like he wasn't silly in the first Thor movie.
Mhm.
It was a little bit when he got hit by a car with like Darcy. There was like hints, but it wasn't over the top. And then it was in the first Avengers movie, he wasn't funny. He was mostly
Yeah.
just like serious, and his comedy came from him not knowing much about Earth. Then even in what was the other one? Uh, Age of Ultron. He wasn't really silly in that one. He was more serious. I think I
Yeah.
liked those more when he was more serious. And then like Ragnarok, he was silly, but he was serious the whole time. There was just
But
silly characters like
Ragnarok
alongside.
was just like a good movie. It had a great story.
Yeah,
Uh, just the themes and the visuals, and I get it
yeah.
because Taika Waititi kind of like took a lot of that stuff into Love and Thunder. Like Love and Thunder looked great,
Hmm.
but it didn't have the same cohesive story that Ragnarok had. And I don't know. I kind of feel like the same way you kind of feel like with Thor.
Yeah,
Kind of like what they ended up doing with Drax, where like the first movie, he's a lovable idiot. I love that character.
yeah.
As a great like alternate take from the comics.
And they go
But
overboard
then
with it.
people are like, "Oh yeah, Drax is the funny guy," and so I guess Marvel just kind of pushed that, like make him like just like the dumb idiot of the universe, and then
Yeah.
they just went full ham on that, and I hated that. But
They did the same thing with the girl too. Like even
Mantis,
Mantis, she was kind of a lovable idiot just because she was naive
yeah,
in the Guardians 2. But then like Infinity War, they made her really silly. And
yeah.
then what
I
was
feel like
the yeah
I don't feel like they went as hard on that as they did with Drax, and
the,
I
yeah.
think Mantis's character is just fun.
Well, if you go back, well, yeah, well, that's yeah, she is fun, but like you didn't need two because you had the two when they're together, they just banter them as both like just the two idiots because they
I
did the
kind of
same
feel like
thing.
they work together though.
They do work
Yeah.
together. It's just crazy because they just make them very dumb, even then when they're
Mm,
talking to other people. And I'm like, I get when you guys are talking to each other because you guys don't
yeah.
understand each other's sarcasm or not sarcasm. You don't understand that language,
Yeah.
but it just got too much because like almost every single thing, every time Drax was on screen, nothing really
Yeah.
that intelligent came out of his mouth, like at
He-
all.
Here's a question I have just based off of this.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna try to like wrap this up as quickly as I can. But a question I've been thinking of because a lot of people are so down on the MCU lately. Um, but I'm wondering like back when we had the MCU movies and stuff, like nobody cared about the TV shows and everything. Now
Right.
everybody's saying like, oh, the Disney Plus shows are basically the movies, which I don't necessarily agree. But if somebody was just in the mindset, I'm here for the movies and I'm here to have a fun time with the movies.
Yeah.
If you're not counting the Disney Plus shows, has Phase 4 and 5 been as big of like a an upset that where it's like, oh, that's it's in the wrong direction, or it's just bad, like everybody's making it out to be,
Yeah.
um compared to when you're lumping in all the TV shows and everything as well. When you think of like just the movies, what movies came out? So
Uh,
think
uh,
like Black Widow, Shang-Chi,
Black
uh
Panther 2.
Black Panther 2, great movie so
We had
far.
the Spider-Man into the Spider. Sorry, what should it called? The
No
Far
Way Home.
No Way Home, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness,
Yeah.
Love and Thunder, Miss Marvel.
No, Miss Marvel's a TV show.
Or
So
sorry, the
Love and
Marvels.
Thunder, Love and Thunder is the first miss there out of all the movies you listed. I think all the rest of them have been great.
Yeah, yeah. It's just Love and Thunder and the
Hmm.
Marvels.
The Marvels, yeah. Which
Wait,
we'll talk about that later.
we will. Yeah.
But yeah, Eternals, which a lot
So,
of
yeah,
people, I understand why a lot of people don't like Eternals, but I thought that was a great movie.
a lot of people didn't like it. I thought it was
Mhm.
great. I
I thought it
liked
was
it a
great too.
lot. It was a very long movie, but I
Right.
still like it. And it was like not every Marvel movie has to be the exact same structure. I liked
Sure.
that
Yeah.
the Eternals was different because
Yeah. I
they
don't think
have
it was
like
that different, by the way, but
no, I know. I get why
yeah.
people are like it's not doesn't really feel like a Marvel movie. I was like I
Yeah.
kind of get what you mean, but like it was cool because I
Yeah.
liked all the
Yeah.
different like the reference all the more references to like Thanos and
Yeah.
like the snap and stuff. I liked the
Yeah.
movie. I thought it was good. I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
I liked all the characters.
Got Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which
Again, that's one.
again a lot of people hated. We love the movie.
I
Um,
love them. Yeah, I love the movie. It was just weird what they did with Kang in that one. Like I
yeah,
thought he was a great villain, but to like then they kill him so easily it
yeah.
seemed. Well, I mean I guess he died from whatever.
But like all those movies, mostly hits, right?
Yeah, yeah, I would say so. Yeah,
Yeah. Are we putting too much weight on the TV shows? Like, is that what the problem is here? Because I feel like the TV shows are just like that's extra.
yeah,
Yeah, like I don't know like why you're like, oh, the MCU is terrible now. It's like you're watching everything. Maybe that's the problem here. You're watching everything, and I'm just considering everything as like a bonus treat to expand the story.
yeah.
Like maybe people feel like they're obligated because like they have to watch it for the full picture.
Yeah.
But I don't know if
I
you really need to.
yeah. Did we mention Guardians 3 though too? Because that was
Guardians
another
3?
yeah, that was another good
Yeah.
one. It was great. I wonder if people are just tired of multiverse and space stuff because that's like that was my problem. I'm getting burnt out of space, like really burnt out. Like I just want to be like Guardians was good. Like I felt really good with that one, but then like I just had the whole No Way Home I loved, but then I also had Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness like right after, and I was like, oh
Yeah.
my god, this is a lot of teleporting and which universe I'm in, and I'm like, it's a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah.
There's a lot going on. Um,
It's yeah, the multiverse is I don't know if that's the problem. Marvel has like a mix of here's stuff
yeah,
that involves multiverse, here's stuff that doesn't. Definitely not everything has to.
yeah.
But this is the multiverse saga. Of course they have to use it. It's going to be a temporary thing. It's once the saga ends, we're not going to deal with the multiverse ever again.
I,
At
I
least
I
I
would
think.
say like obviously a couple of them aren't the greatest movies. I like them. I enjoy them for what they are. I think my problem is like when you see Iron Man, then you got Captain America, and then Thor, and then we got an Avenger movie, and then we had another sequel. Then we had like the Ant Man movie, another another sequel. Then we had I don't know, just another character introduced, whatever. We have characters introduced. Then we have another like then we had the Guardians introduced. Then we have another movie. Like we had like there's structure going forward. There was like you could see the phases. This one I can't even really tell when a phase ends or starts because like then remember
Yeah.
Ant Man started the new phase and I was like,
I
what the hell was created? Like what happened in the last phase? Nothing really. Like that's
I think the problem is we got used to that, and Marvel
yeah
obviously didn't want to do that. They're like, okay, we did that. We don't want to be like pigeonholed to do that. We want to create new
yeah.
stories now. Now that we finished off that saga,
It's like the multiverse is messy, and it's like they wanted the
meant to
phases to
be.
be messy. And I don't I
Yeah.
think that's what bothers me because I feel like I think that's why people are like, "Ooh, this is like feeling very DC where it's just messy and then we're supposed to have something that all joins together later, or it's all joined together and then they all pick apart later. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
feels like everything is it just feels messy, and I guess I don't know, I don't like that, and I want some structure going into the next phase is I
Sure.
think what I want. That's just my opinion. I don't know if that's how maybe what people see, but
I think
it doesn't feel
yeah.
like I'm leading to anything yet. Like I have no idea what the hell
Well,
secret.
yeah, again, because I think like people were just expecting that. It's like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
everything led into the end of the Infinity Saga,
yeah,
so that's going to happen again, right? And
yeah,
then I think Marvel's plan was, no, we're gonna tell standalone stories, and there
yeah,
will be an overarching thing, but that doesn't matter as much as the individual stories. And people were like, okay, but when's the big villain? When's everybody going
yeah,
to get together to fight the big villain? It's like, can you just let the new characters breathe? So I think Marvel
yeah.
hasn't really portrayed like it really went through the messaging and said like, this is what we're doing for the saga. This is what you need to expect. I think people just carried stuff over from the Infinity Saga.
I and I think that's what is bothering me, just because it feels messy. So like when I see
Mm,
Spider-Man and Doctor Strange mixed together, I'm like, cool, here we go. Here's
yeah,
something leading up to it. And then I gotta watch She-Hulk and Miss Marvel, and then I'm like, oh Jesus fuck, this has nothing to do with like anybody, and don't even
yeah,
know where we're doing. Like I have some coworkers who loved I got them hooked on the show or the MCU. They've been watching everything.
yeah,
She didn't watch she watched WandaVision. She didn't watch She-Hulk, and she didn't watch or sorry, not She-Hulk. She didn't watch Miss Marvel. So then when
yeah,
she watched
yeah.
the Marvels, she was like, "The fuck is going on?" And I think that happens to people if they're not watching the shows too, and then it
Right.
just becomes a lot. So
They kind of like mentioned briefly. But we'll,
yeah,
we'll, we'll
they
get into
do.
we'll get into the Marvels. I want
Yeah,
to I want to keep going because we just want to wrap up the news here. Um,
I'm
I
frozen. Oh, there we go.
You're
I'm back.
frozen. Okay.
I'm
Um,
back.
so I just want to do this briefly. Disney Plus has a new timeline order. I didn't
Yes,
delve
I saw
deep.
that.
I didn't delve deep into this,
Okay.
but some things I have questions about here. First of all, they're including the Netflix shows. Awesome. The problem is, and I think it's just how Disney Plus is structured. They just
Yeah.
have like one thumbnail for one show, right?
Yeah.
The problem is like they didn't think about that when putting it into an MCU timeline.
Yeah.
So we have every season of Daredevil taking place in one point of the timeline when it's like no, there's multiple seasons. Like these should be spread out. So it should be like season one and then continue with the timeline and then season two, right?
I
But
agree with that. Yeah.
yeah, all the seasons are in one. So like I get it. So that's the starting point of where it
Yeah.
goes. So you kind of have to like look online when where does season two take place in the timeline and figure that out.
Right.
So that's kind of annoying. But and I'm sure they can change that and update it in Disney Plus if it's a really big deal. People are complaining about it.
Yeah.
The other additions here, which I'm questioning, uh, it was my understanding, and from what I've read online and other things, that the Marvels took place before Secret Invasion, and Secret Invasion was the last thing in the timeline. Apparently, the Marvels takes place after Secret Invasion.
That makes sense to me because that's
Makes
when
sense to you? Okay.
that makes
I
sense to
I
me. That's
felt
that's
it
right.
made more sense taking place before Secret Invasion, but
See, I thought that's the whole point was why I was telling like people when the before the Marvels came out,
yeah.
I was telling people to watch Secret Invasion
Oh,
because I was
don't
like,
tell
yeah,
people to
because
watch Secret Invasion.
no, I mean, it's worth one watch. There's a lot good in it other
Sure,
than the
sure.
ending. The ending was very bad, but the
I
rest I
would
thought
put
I
she.
was
Okay, so now that I'm remembering Secret Invasion, I would put
yeah.
She-Hulk above Secret Invasion.
Okay, because I didn't I liked Secret Invasion
It's
up
okay.
until the last episode when they're like fucking with me with
Yeah, Gaia's
war
power
yeah
and
Gaia's powers and War Machine. I was very
yeah,
pissed. I was like no, like that too, the whole War
yeah.
Machine. I need to be I don't even care. I don't even care if they tell me.
Secret Invasion. I'm not gonna watch again.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Yeah,
I gotta watch the last
I'll
episode with
I'll
Jess, and I
I'll
want to
watch
see her
She-Hulk
reaction to it.
over.
But
I'll rewatch She-Hulk over Secret Invasion.
okay, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I was telling everybody to watch Secret Invasion
Yeah,
before this too if you didn't want to be lost. I was like, you should watch Miss Marvel
yep,
because she's gonna be in the Marvels. I was like, you should watch WandaVision, but in case you don't, I was like, is it Monroe? What's her name? Monica.
Monica.
Monroe.
Yeah.
Is that her name?
They
Or Ro?
again they briefly go
What's her
over
last
like
name?
Monica Rambeau.
Rambo. So I was like,
Yeah.
Monica Rambo gets her powers from the thing. I know they go over
Yeah.
it, but I was like,
Yeah.
in case you're lost, this is how they got their powers.
Sure.
And then I was like, yeah. And then Secret Invasion, Nick Fury is in it, and you got to watch the ending to see where he is left. I could really just tell you he's in a spaceship or
Yeah.
in a space. He's in space,
Yeah.
whether it's in a satellite or a spaceship. I don't know, but yeah, that's how I was like basically telling people. So that makes sense to me. I didn't even think about it
Yeah.
being before that, but
Okay. Yeah, I was always under the impression it was before, but whatever. Another thing, Echo. I think we've already talked about this. Echo is taking place before She-Hulk, after Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I think that makes sense.
sure.
Loki season 2 and What If season 2 are at the end of the timeline. How the fuck does that make sense? Because where's Loki
Uh,
season 1 on this timeline? Because they do Loki season 1, which it's funny that Loki and What If have two different points for their seasons, but the Netflix shows don't. If they can do
hmm,
it for those shows, do it with the Netflix shows.
right.
Um, but Loki season 1 takes place after Avengers Endgame, which tech partly yes,
Okay,
right?
but you need to watch it, otherwise you get spoiled.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is the timeline orders for people who've already watched all these
Yeah, I
ones. Yeah.
suppose.
Um. The but yeah, Loki season 1 takes place after Avengers Endgame. Makes sense. Loki season 2 should be right after that. Should it not?
It should because they lead. Doesn't it just begin right where it ended? It literally starts like the season started. The first episode led right off from the ending, did it not?
For me, Loki season 1 and 2 should take place before the last act of Avengers Endgame.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense to me. Technically, the Loki takes place in 2012.
Yeah, in an alternate timeline 2012 that
And
was erased. And then
right,
he got sent outside of time, then everything happened and the
yeah.
whole like multiverse was like
Can you
changed.
zoom this picture in because I can't really see the thumbnails?
I will try.
Yeah.
No.
I just want to see the last. Okay, can you tell me what the last line is there? So do we have?
Ant-Man and
No.
Wasp: Quantumania,
Okay.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3,
Mm-hmm.
Secret Invasion, The Marvels, Loki Season 2, What If Season 2.
Okay. What if should? I mean, what if can kind of? I guess
What If doesn't
exist almost.
matter.
What if doesn't matter? It can
Doesn't
exist
matter.
anywhere. They should just keep putting it at the end or at the very beginning. It's just. I mean, it shouldn't really even be on there. I mean, it could just be. It
It
could be like
it it if
It's
I get why it's after Loki because the multiverse blows up and
right.
then that explains like that sets up What If, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, they should do Loki season 1 and 2 and then What If season 1 and 2.
I agree with you. I think Loki should absolutely be right after Endgame, both
Mm-hmm.
season 1 and 2, because once season 1 is done, it literally starts. Season 2 literally starts where season 1 ended. So they should just be right together.
Yeah.
So that I agree with that. It should be after Endgame. It's a 2012 one, but if you watch it before that, it'll be spoilers for people who
Yeah.
haven't seen the timeline order. So I get that. Um, where's Black Widow on this? I can't
Black
see it.
Widow takes place in between Civil War and Black Panther.
Civil War and Black Panther. See, now that makes sense because
Yep.
that's in the timeline order. But
Mm-hmm.
once you watch the ending credits, it makes no sense.
No, I know. And again, the timeline order is for people who have already watched all these.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like you're going through a rewatch, but you want to watch them in timeline order.
Now, so
That's
this is
way
the
nothing gets
timeline.
spoiled for you.
Okay, so this is in timeline order. Do they have it still? I saw this the other day. I didn't go through specifically to see like to pick apart everything. Do they still have like the phase 1 section, phase 2 section,
I
do they still have
believe
that?
so. I
Okay,
believe
see
so.
that's still good for people who are watching it for the first time.
Yeah.
That way they don't start with
And
Captain
they also
Marvel
have
or
all
they
the
don't.
shorts and everything too. So
Okay, yeah, yeah. Because you shouldn't watch Captain Marvel. Like technically, she's like second. She's in the 80s. She's like the second hero after Captain America. Um,
Captain Marvel's in the 90s.
Sorry, yeah, the 90s.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, it's like um yeah, I'm so yeah, it's the I was thinking the 80s is Guardians of the Galaxy when Peter Parker gets or not Peter Parker,
Peter
Jesus.
Quill, yeah.
Peter
Peter
Quill
Quill
gets
gets
grabbed.
abducted, yeah.
She's in the 90s, yeah. So that makes sense for her to be up for be early, but if you watch hers, you'll be confused with like after the cutscenes and stuff. So
Yeah,
for the people who
yeah.
haven't seen it, her phase should
No,
still be in
if you're watching
phase.
the movies for the first time, watch them in release order.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And
If you're
that's
rewatching
the
them,
order
then
I
you
tell
can
everybody to
watch.
watch.
Yeah, if you're rewatching them, go ahead and watch it in timeline order. Timeline's
Yeah.
more for us to kind of like,
See what
uh,
happened next and just see
well,
what's
yeah, just see where everything takes place, right?
yeah.
But
But then the credits don't make 0 sense.
no, no, I know. Again, you're watching
Yeah.
this. This is the
Yeah,
second watch, right? All
yeah.
right, let's move on.
Oh.
We got everybody's favorite Sony Marvel movie that we're all looking forward to. El Muerto is still in production, even though Bad Bunny quit. Um, so
Who's
yeah,
Bad Bunny?
we've already been through this. He's
Uh,
a singer. He's gonna be playing El Muerto,
oh,
the
okay.
greatest Spider-Man villain ever that Sony has been sleeping on. Still don't know who the fuck it is. But yeah, that's happening.
He's
Oh
even
yeah,
better
also,
than Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say the movie was supposed to have come out already. It's supposed to be released on January 12th.
Yeah,
So,
that's
what's your
crazy.
question?
I was like, he's the best villain that they've been sleeping on over Venom and Carnage that they totally
Oh
missed
yeah,
the
100%. This right here,
yeah.
everybody knows who this Spider-Man villain is.
Yeah.
The the
El
Sony
Muerto.
Sony's sleeping on a gold mine right here. You're gonna be
Yeah.
selling so much El Muerto merch.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you said Spot was a weird one for them to do, and I
Hmm.
actually really like that villain. So
Yeah.
yeah. So who knows what they're
But
gonna do with this?
the difference between El Muerto and Spot is that
Mhm.
I know who Spot was.
Yeah.
Even as a D-lister.
Oh, oh my god.
I know like every Spider-Man villain. Who the fuck is El Muerto?
It was like they got drunk and they spun the wheel.
Threw a dart on a
Yeah, they threw a dart and they're like, "Well, I guess it's El Muerto." Yeah,
yeah.
like he had like the smallest speck of space, and the dart landed there.
It's like, all right, Tom, did you put El Muerto on the board? I
Yeah,
told you
yeah,
not to.
yeah.
All
That's
right.
funny.
Then we
Spin
have
the
Madam Web's the longest Sony Marvel movie. We've already been through that earlier in the podcast.
yeah,
Yeah, let's talk about Echo real quick.
yeah, sure.
Because
Um,
I think that's all the news. So yeah,
mhm,
we watched Echo.
yeah. There's just
What'd you
something I
think? What do
remember.
you remember?
It sucks because I watched it all at once, and now we're doing the podcast about like 2 or 3 weeks since I've watched it all.
Yeah.
But I loved it the whole way through. Me and my
Really?
girlfriend, but we enjoyed the whole thing. We liked it. I loved um uh
Alakwa Cox?
is that her name?
That's her name, yeah.
Yeah, she's fantastic. And then we even looked it up because uh her movements and everything with sign language was so fluid and so good. I was wondering if she just learned it for the role, but I didn't realize that she was actually deaf in
Yeah,
real
yeah, you
life.
didn't know
And
that?
no, I mean
Yeah.
I've probably talked about it before, but I just hearing about her again. I'm sure we talked about it when she came up
Hmm.
in Hawkeye. I also don't remember in Hawkeye her having a prosthetic leg,
Yeah,
so I definitely have to watch Hawkeye again. I didn't
yeah,
realize
for sure.
she was an amputee in real life too.
Yes. So
So
that's not something about her character in the comics. That's something that they added to the character based on
okay,
Alakwa Cox. So like, yeah,
she's
we can make Echo amputee for sure.
to have two disabilities.
Hmm.
She's amazing.
And
Like
she's
the act.
Native American as well. So it's
Yeah.
another representation there, all in one character.
Oh,
Cool.
yeah, it was very cool. Honestly, I loved the actress.
Hmm.
I was like looking up her on IMDb, and I was like, man, I want to follow more stuff that she's been in because she did a great
No, I
job.
think this is her first thing.
Um, you think so? That's the first thing. Well, I guess
From what I've
other than
heard,
Hawkeye.
because I was just watching the behind the scenes, like the Marvel, what's it called? Like the behind the scenes series that they do.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Like they do it for like they've been doing it for like every project since like halfway through Phase 4, I think. Um, Actually, I think they were all Phase 4. I think they started it with Phase 4. So like every project they release, they do like this Marvel documentary series on the making of it. So I just watched it for Echo, and I think in that episode they were talking about how this is the first thing that she's done.
Well, she
So
did an awesome job. Honestly, like between acting, I don't know if like I don't know. I thought it was fantastic. I liked everything about this. I would just say that it didn't also feel like a lot happened, which is like what you and I are talking about.
yeah,
It was I thought it was fun. I liked all the different portrayals.
we're gonna be spoiling the show, by the way. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and the intro was one of the coolest intros I've ever seen in the Marvel
I
universe, which
think
I
we
really
skipped it a few
liked.
times. What was? Can you describe the intro? Because I already
Um,
forget.
it was very like obviously I don't really know anything about like the culture,
Yeah,
but I think it was like it was I want to that's what I'm looking up right now. I wanted to see who
yeah,
the it was like in production with something. It was Disney and her. So it was
yeah.
fun because the music was amazing. It was my ringtone for a while because I
Oh
liked
yeah.
her intro music for so
Cool.
long. And then just give me a second. I'll let you talk about what your favorite parts were while I just look this up.
Well, I hate to disappoint you, Jordan. I thought the show was okay.
Just okay.
I
I liked them.
yeah, no, no, I get it. It's not a bad show. It's actually a good show.
Yeah,
I just found like some things weird at points,
yeah.
and I think I was just expecting more from the show. I don't know, especially when they hype it up as yeah, it's TVMA. It follows more in line with the Netflix shows. It's a sort of like building point through Daredevil Born Again. Also, this awesome kick-ass character from the comics, and just exploring her backstory. I'm like, and everything from the trailers. I'm like, this looks fun. Um, I don't really feel like it stepped up from there. And then I found the decisions really weird. I get the decisions for being more in tuned with her
Culture and
character's
her.
roots and culture and
Yeah,
everything, and how they were making you I don't know, it kind of seems a bit cheesy, but I get it. Her making her name her power, and how she's getting the I've always said, like, every time we were watching it and her like quote unquote powers show up on the show, I would turn to my brother and I'm like, so is her powers the powers of her ancestors? Like that's what her powers are. She has the powers of her ancestors.
yeah, and
So
so I like that the intro wasn't the regular like Marvel
mhm.
whatever it was. I'm just fast forwarding it through it now so I can see why they. I don't know why their decision to do it differently. I don't know if it was because they wanted to bring like that native, is that correct? Native,
Yeah,
like, yeah, like heritage on screen. So they wanted to change it and
I
not just
remember
make
the
it look
tribe.
comic booky, right? They didn't want to
Yeah.
make it look like let's not have our first native character look very comic booky.
Sure, yeah, yeah.
So I thought that's why her intro to me was very interesting. The music was great. I thought it was super cool. Um, I just that was what was also weird to me because I didn't know this character had powers. I thought she was
Yeah.
just gonna be like a cool, not Black Widow, but like you know what I mean, like a mercenary fighter, kind of like Daredevil. She's
Yeah,
got her
yeah.
own like that kind of thing.
I
The
know we're
fact that
mostly sorry.
the fact that the beginning,
Mhm.
like I was like, oh, we're like looking at like
Yeah, yeah.
alien creatures, and then they were like
Which is not off from
ancestor.
the MCU. We've seen like a million different things like this, so
I know it gave
yeah.
me Eternal vibes though, with like things that were before humans on
Yeah,
Earth.
yeah.
They were like different creatures, and then they became humans, and then her
Yeah.
powers were passed down through generations. And then she couldn't really use her powers unless like she really needed it to. Uh,
Yeah.
because at one point, my girlfriend who is becoming a train conductor,
Yeah.
when that first fight scene is happening on the train, my
Mhm.
girlfriend was telling me all about the different train mechanics.
Sure.
And when her leg gets caught in the train part, my girlfriend goes, You cannot unclip that. She is stuck in there. There's nothing that's going to be able to do it." And then she used superpowers to like blast her way off that. My
Right.
girlfriend goes, "Oh well, I guess that'll do it." So then we both looked at it. Then we both looked at each other like,
Yeah.
"Did you know she had powers?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"I don't remember her having powers."
No.
So powers came out of fucking nowhere for us.
Yeah, yeah,
Wasn't seeing that, did not know that was coming because she was like, she's gonna have to take her leg off
yeah,
because there is no way you can get that uncoupled. So then the fact that the powers came out of nowhere was a huge surprise, considering my
yeah,
girlfriend had just told me that cannot be unpinned. So
yeah.
um,
It
I
felt to me
get
like
that.
they're just like, how do we make her name her powers? And it's like, oh, it's it's echoes through her ancestry that are
Yeah,
like okay, cool, I get it. But I'm like, did she really need that though? Because I know the character mostly from the Avengers comics,
yeah,
and she's just like a badass fighter who's deaf and she's just a really cool character from the comics. I don't remember like any of these sort of powers or anything, and they just decided to throw them in for the sake of it because that's her name. And I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know if she really needed that though. She could just have been a badass character.
For sure.
But
I agree. It came out, it felt like it was, either it kind of felt forced and like it
yeah,
came out of nowhere. So I was like, you could have just made a badass native
yeah,
character with disabilities being more than what people might see her as or
yeah,
something. Like, just, I'm like, cool, she's amazing, but then like, now we gotta get her powers because she's missing a leg. And I was like, she doesn't need it though. She was awesome.
yeah.
She did not need her powers.
I
I
also
would have
don't.
been okay. I was okay if she had the
Yeah,
healing power. I was like, that seems like very like spiritual and like something
yeah,
that would have
yeah.
been a little bit more. I was like,
I get that.
the healing would have been nice, but I
And
don't know. Then
it's
I,
for her mother too, right? Her mother had that. It was like passed down.
yeah, and
Yeah,
that I thought would have been enough. But I was like, then she was like blasting carts and stuff, and I was like, I don't know. Like, she didn't. The power wasn't really overused, so I don't really know
what was the power?
everything
'Cause
about.
that's my thing. Is like, what is this power? Because that's why I kept asking. I'm like, I kept asking my brother. I'm like, is her power the power of her ancestors? Because I'm like, I don't
I think
understand the
so.
power. Yeah,
That's all.
yeah. My brother's like, yeah. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I'm saying
Yeah.
that because I don't get it. Um,
I think it was like her ancestors are watching over her, and her powers only come
and
out when her
does she get the
ancestors need to tell
powers of
her.
convenience? Is that what
Yeah,
it is?
yeah, yeah. I'm stuck. All right,
Yeah.
oh, hang on. We're gonna help you out. Oh, I'm bleeding. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna heal you.
I
But
think
they
the
didn't.
I
Yeah,
think the most that, by the way, I think my brother really liked it too because I was like,
yeah,
it's okay. He's like, yeah. He's like, really? I thought it was really good. So
uh,
but I think the most egregious part of that was the anticlimactic ending. I think, um,
yeah,
where she's like, oh, she's in a barn. She's trapped by Kingpin and his men. And how's she gonna get out of this? Oh, she has now the power to punch, and also her friends that are with her. She's also giving them the power to punch, and so they
yeah.
punch the villains.
Yeah, that was weird.
Their hands
That
glow and
was,
they punch them. I'm like,
yeah.
do they get like
I was like,
super
okay,
strength
Iron
or what?
Fist. We've
Like,
seen this before. Yeah. Um, that I agree. I also didn't like the healing.
Mhm.
I really, I know you like Fisk, but I just am so sick of him living. He was
He-
shot in the eye and he lived again. And
yeah,
then we didn't even kill him at the end of this, even though
no,
she
no.
wanted to kill him so much. So I was like, as soon as the ending
Her
happened,
character arc to become a hero, I guess. But
and I like that.
mhm.
But the whole like healing him to
Yeah,
like heal his pain, so his rage was gone. I was like, so now we're
yeah,
just gonna have a non, like, he's gonna be like, oh, you know what? I have no more rage, so I'm gonna go back
hmm,
home now. And then I was like, but then the next time we see him, he's gonna be fucking normal Fisk again. I know it. So
yeah.
I'm like, what? We're gonna have Mayor Fisk of New York now? Like, I don't know.
We're
It's
gonna
just,
get ready for a lot more Fisk.
I
We're gonna
know.
get a
It's
lot of Fisk.
I like the actor, but I'm just like,
Vincent
characters need to
D'Onofrio, yeah,
be characters need to be like, they need to be killed off or have their ending. So like that, I'm like, oh
yeah.
my god, Fisk again?
I,
Fuck me.
I feel like
Sorry.
yeah, I feel like they could have done a better job with Fisk in the series for sure.
Yeah.
Um, I nothing against Vincent D'Onofrio. His acting's great, and I love the character, and I'm excited to see where they're going forward with him. Him not dying is actually in line with the comics. He
Yeah.
actually gets both of his eyes removed in the comics,
Jesus
but he
Christ.
still lived. So that's
Yeah.
like it's part of the comics. I get it. They wanted to introduce that there. They kind of like brushed off like how he survived, how he got back, and everything. But it's Fisk. He's a rich guy. He'll figure it out.
Yeah.
The thing I didn't like was the very MCU. Oh, I have an eyeball now that can, or like an earpiece that translates when you do sign language, so I can hear what you're saying. And also, you have a lens in your eye that
Yeah.
shows me doing virtual sign language. Um, it just screams to me like I get it. I'm like, yeah, that sort of technology would exist in the MCU, I
Yes,
guess.
that's some easy stuff that Stark could invite
Yeah,
in
but I'm
or
like,
invent in an afternoon.
on its own, like if this was its own thing, which it's supposed to be because it's the Marvel Spotlight series, it's the first Spotlight show. Um,
Right.
but if it was its own thing, I'd be like, come the fuck on, are you kidding me? But like but like for the MCU, I'm like, all right, I guess that would exist in the MCU, but
Yeah.
it really just screamed to me, oh hey, we didn't have enough time to teach this actor how to sign language in this scene and also act in like the great way that he's been acting
Yeah.
at the same time. We couldn't get that to work, so we're going to make an excuse about why he can just act without signing. And
Yeah.
she also brought up like you never bothered to learn how to sign. Yes, he did, because he did it in Hawkeye. He knew how to sign in Hawkeye. He knew what she was
Yeah.
saying in Hawkeye. And also, this is the Kingpin from the Netflix series, this Kingpin knows multiple languages because he
Yeah.
wants to know what people are saying behind his back. You're
Yeah.
telling me that he wouldn't have wanted to learn how to sign?
I was gonna bring this exact topic up because I was like, I don't know everything about Kingpin. I don't
Yeah,
research him. I don't read enough comic books, but I was like, he's like a businessman. It makes sense for him to know multiple languages,
criminal, but
and yeah, well, yeah. um, but it seems, and then like he's like raising this girl since she was little. I get like the arrogant part of his character. It makes
yeah,
sense for him to just take the easy way out of something and not learn sign language. But I was
yeah,
like, but maybe something like else he took the easy way. Like learning sign language
yeah,
seems like something that he should know for a character he cared for, for her character who he cares so much about and wants to give her his business like
yeah,
after or have her being the queen pin. But yeah, I was like, I was trying to like weigh the pros and cons, and then like by the end, I was like, no, it makes more sense for him to know sign language
yeah,
to learn for her and to like know if like other people are talking about him. Like it seems like the kind of thing where if two people who are talking sign language together, he
mhm,
would like interrupt and be like, I know exactly what they're talking
yeah.
about because I need to know this for me. So
Also,
yeah,
her character can read lips. They didn't
yeah,
like I get the scenes that that they were doing this dialogue. He
yeah,
was facing away from her. They were like
yeah,
having dinner or whatever. So it's like it's less of a reason to have the characters always face each other, I guess.
yeah. Hmm.
But it's just it seemed lazy to me.
Yeah, I
Uh,
get what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was like, this definitely seems like something Stark could invent, or
yeah,
multiple other people could have invented, and then Kingpin bought or stole that technology or replicated it because it's already something that's already,
yeah,
it's easy considering everything else that's in the MCU. Um, so I get what you're saying, but then I
yeah,
was also like, what was wrong? What's wrong with, at least if you couldn't, if he wasn't going to learn sign language, what's wrong with her doing sign language? And then
yeah,
him at least understanding it. Like he could just talk back and then
yeah,
she could read his lips.
yeah,
So I was like, that way at least shows that even if he's not going to sign, she can read his lips and then he at least understands what all of her hand movements mean. That was like, I
yeah.
was like, that was fine. That should have been,
I agree.
um, that should have just been it. And then I was like, at the very least, you already had him paying, an interpreter, right? So I was like,
Yep,
you already have an interpreter, and then you went and fucking shot her as soon as she learned information she wasn't supposed to, and he could have
yep,
just kept, recycling interpreters. I was like, cool, that at least it has the mob boss mentality
yep.
from Kingpin 2. He could just hire interpreter, have her killed off. Hire another interpreter, have her killed off. I was like,
Yeah,
that was at least mob boss mentality. To have him playing with these weird little gadgets that looked like silly little hands
yeah,
doing sign, I was like, that was, yeah, you're right. I was trying to weigh like, is this fitting or is this not fitting? It seemed gimmicky. They're like, you know what, we need to add some CGI
yeah.
to the show, so let's add this.
I can't think of anything else I want to say about Echo, so I'm
Yeah.
ready to move on. Are you?
Yeah. Uh no, that's about it for the summary. I loved the intro. I
Mhm.
loved the actress. Um the show was good. I don't really feel
Yep.
like it really ramped. It didn't really like the ramp up didn't really get that high, and then the ending was pretty anticlimactic.
In terms of like
Um
the consequence, it pretty much just sets up that that Wilson Fisk is running for mayor, and
he's yeah, he,
that's probably what
yeah,
the Daredevil Born Again is going to be about.
yeah. He's running for mayor and she's like a new hero. That's
Yeah,
she's
she's going to show up in something. Maybe she'll
yeah.
show up in Daredevil. I
I would
don't
like to
know.
see more of her. I enjoyed her character a lot.
Maybe we
I don't know
won't
if
see her in Daredevil because she is a very
yeah.
Daredevil character. So
It was also cool to see her in the beginning with her fighting Daredevil.
yeah.
That was really cool. Which is also someone brought up the point with like they can never speak to each other
Well,
because
they do have interactions in the comics.
right. But I just thought
Yeah.
it's gonna be funny to watch that on screen because he can't
Yeah.
see her.
Yeah.
He can't see her sign, and she can't.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then he
He
can't hear
she
her, or
can't
what is it? He can't.
yeah, he can't hear him.
You can't hear him, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's I was like, that would be kind of an interesting interpret like that would be interesting. But the fight
Yeah.
was really cool between the two of them. It was very brief, but it was interesting. Um,
Yeah, let's move on to the next
yeah,
thing. We're
sure.
gonna talk about What If season 2. We're gonna be brief on the episodes. What are even I
Yeah.
don't even know what the episodes are. What are we talked
We
about?
s- we stopped at I have it right here.
Okay.
No, I switched over to Echo. We stopped at the one where
Yep. You look at the episodes. I'll talk as you go.
okay. Okay. Let me get back to that one. Yeah, because
So
I had it up and then we
yeah,
brought up Echo.
season 2. What if I feel the same way about What If season 2 as I did with season 1. Fun little side stories, no consequence to me. It's not like a super hype thing. I'm excited for the overall theme of the MCU.
Yeah.
Just whatever. Like I don't even need to watch these again. They're just like a one time thing for me. There's
Yeah,
like a
that's
couple episodes where it's like, yeah, I would like to rewatch that story maybe. Like from season 1, the Doctor Strange story. It was cool.
yeah.
But like overall, yeah.
Um, we left off at what if Captain Carter fought the
I
Steve
just
Rogers,
yeah.
the Hydra Stomper, which I think we both agreed the ending was really stupid with the whole the grapple hook
Yeah.
and the death that we were like, she's like, I'm still gonna search for Steve, and I'm like, bro, he just died in that nuke. Like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? So, yeah, then we saw Captain Carter get sucked into a uh, portal.
Yeah, Portal, yeah.
Yeah, portal. Um, and then the next episode was what if Kahori
Hmm.
reshaped the world,
Yep.
which was cool to see a native character with her powers, which
Yeah, this
came
is
from
a brand new character for the MCU, not in the comics.
right.
So
Yeah. I don't really remember a ton about the thing other than it was what's weird because they call it a Mohawk woman ventures into the waters of the
from the
Forbidden Lake
Mohawk,
to save
I
her.
think the Mohawk's a tribe.
Tribe? Okay.
So,
Alright, so yeah, so she went into these waters and it spits you out into a different world. And then these people just have incredible amounts of power. They can
mhm.
make shields. They can run super fast.
Yeah.
I
I
think
can't
they
fix your
had
camera, by the way, so you're just gonna be frozen at times.
oh okay.
Like I'm
They
trying
had like
to, yeah.
telekinesis
Hmm.
because they could like move things around and then dismantle them. So she's a very powerful character, and it'll be interesting to see her in the MCU if they ever decide to do that.
Again, the answer would be, if anything, Secret Wars. If we don't see her in Secret Wars, we're not seeing her at all.
Yeah,
So
because
it's a what
her
if story.
character
It's
is
an
her
alternate
character.
universe.
Yeah, well, her character is insanely powerful. So if
Yeah.
she does come to the MCU, she might even be able to beat out like Captain Marvel. Like she's got way too
Yeah.
many powers.
Again,
She's a speedster.
her origins not outside of the realm for the MCU. Um,
No.
there's so many different like alternate dimensions and realities just on Earth.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
this is where he originated from. Also, I wasn't really too clear where they were being sent to. If it was like an alternate realm, maybe they're on another planet. I don't know. Um, but like it seems like they kind of live forever there. But
Yeah. Yeah, it's just yeah, it is weird. Like Earth has what? Like the one where the 10 rings is located. It has this
oh,
this
you
this
you
one.
wanna you wanna list them all? There's gonna be a lot.
No,
You don't
no,
even know. You don't even
I
know,
know.
Jordan, because there's a show called Cloak and Dagger, and there's like a
Yeah.
whole like dark universe and everything there, like a shadow realm kind of thing.
Oh, I gotta
Um,
watch that one too. That one sounds so good.
yeah, there's Agents of Shield where there's like oh, I'm gonna spoil shit for you for Agents of Shield if I do that.
That's
Oh
okay.
yeah, there's like a nightmare dimension. There's like there's a whole thing.
Yeah. So Earth is like the backwater planet that just has all these like I don't
Yeah.
know, very like it's like this is a garbage planet with some of the most peaceful side realms apparently.
We haven't even
It's got
seen
like
the negative zone. You wait
yeah,
until Fantastic Four, we're gonna see the negative zone.
yeah. Is the quantum realm located on Earth, or is it just somewhere you can go if you're really tiny? I
I
don't like
don't
that. I
know.
don't understand.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
I'm not a I'm not a quantum scientist. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. I'm not. Apparently, if you get very tiny, apparently travel to the quantum
Yeah.
realm. You just no matter where you are, I guess. I don't know. Um,
Um.
how'd that
Well,
episode end? It ended with her
they were
like taking.
they were going
Go
to
ahead.
fight the queen.
Yes. So she fought a bunch of I don't know, mercenaries who just have like muskets
Yeah.
and cannonballs. That's about
Yeah.
the height
Colonizers.
of yeah. That was like the height of
Yeah.
their powers was muskets and like
Hmm.
bombs, cannon,
Sure.
whatever cannons. And then she goes after she defeats them all. She goes to the queen
Hmm.
and literally just embarrasses the queen in front of all her guards, destroys
Hmm.
her throne, tells her that like we're gonna have peace on Earth or it's all gonna be over.
Yeah.
And in that very scene, Doctor Strange shows up, and I believe he steals her. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that is the last we see of her at the ending of that episode
Hmm.
until the last one.
Yes. But
So
it's
that
a
is
what if style.
uh,
Everything's got to culminate at the end, even though
yeah.
everything seems like it's just been separate stories.
Mhm. Just there's not a whole lot to really go off that episode. It's all subtitles. Um the universe that she's in is really cool. I like that little part where they had to like get the seeds. They had to get like these
Sure.
fruits
Yeah.
from
All
animals.
born from the
Weird.
Tesseract, by the way, right? But this whole story is just that the Tesseract landed on Earth in a different place,
Oh
and that
yeah,
yeah, and
that I
that's
did
how
forgot.
all this started.
So Tesseract powers. So
Yep.
very more Tesseracted like was landed in some water and turned it into a whole like opened up a parallel dimension. So
It
maybe
could,
it's not on Earth. Maybe it opened up a space and tear and time to somewhere
yeah,
else.
it is the space stone. So yeah, it could just be teleporting them somewhere else. That's true.
Yeah, a different dimension throughout the
It's
space through like
crazy how many things just get created from the Tesseract. Like you have like the Tesseract in the hands of the wrong person, and they can just
yeah,
like create like a whole bunch of
yeah.
like superpowers and like and life and everything just from the Tesseract.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've made a battery, and then Miss Marvel
Yeah.
inherited powers through a
You
battery.
can make an army.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You can make weapons. Like they
Yeah.
make weapons, and
Well,
and
they did.
yeah,
The Red Skull did make weapons from the Tesseract.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they make weapons from them.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. Like weapons that
Yeah.
like tear the like space time apart.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Uh, I don't know anything else about talking about that one. I
Nope.
liked the new character.
Yeah, she's cool.
I thought she was cool.
Hmm.
Um, the next episode is what if Hela found the 10 rings?
This one, I fell asleep.
I'll be honest. When I read it, I
Yeah.
thought that is so cool, and then immediately was disappointed by everything the entire episode.
Yeah.
It
I
is
thought it was
basically
weird. I think my brother liked the episode, but I'm like, I think this was a weird story, and it took turns that I wasn't expecting. I'm like, I was not expecting the story at all. And it was just a weird idea for a story, I think.
I thought it was a good idea, just
Yeah,
poorly executed.
sure, yeah.
Yeah, like I was like, okay, so we got Hela being banished in like the
Hmm.
exact same similar way that Thor was,
Yeah.
Odin banishing her to Earth, and she landed in whatever country, or was it? Did she take place in where the actual Ten Rings were, or was she in that maze forest? I don't remember
She
that.
was in the initial fight where we first saw Wenwu and Shang-Chi, when he was, I don't even know where they were, to be honest. I wasn't paying attention.
It sucks to try to do a podcast about an episode that was just kind of meh.
I just don't
It,
care about this as much, to be honest.
yeah.
Like, I stopped
Well,
caring about what
we'll
if.
fly through it. Hela is evil and nasty, and she basically has to try to learn from the Ten Rings guy.
Yeah.
And I think the mother, was it the mother who was teaching her how to do the powers?
Mm-hmm.
Um, she was kind of smart alecky the whole time. She didn't have her powers. She's still strong and she's still a good fighter,
Yeah.
but evidently they beat her up. They beat her up and basically teach her how to, open your mind and be peaceful and be a nice person.
Yeah.
Um, and that was pretty much the entire movie that I remember. It was just them teaching her how to, like, not even use the Ten Rings,
Mm-hmm.
just be part of their new culture and their world. And I found that very boring. There was some funny like dialogue,
Yeah.
but other than that, it wasn't very concrete or heavy hitting stuff. And until like the end, I'm like,
And they were
do
going to
you have?
save Gamora's planet from Thanos's attack.
Did they do that?
Yeah, at the end of the episode.
I don't
You don't
remember
remember
that.
that? That's how the episode
No.
ended.
Uh, well, there was like the Odin part. Was that before or after?
Oh yeah, yeah. The Bowden part was before. I don't get
Okay.
how the resolution to that ended. Also, again, I fell asleep.
Yeah, so Odin came and was like, I don't know. He basically just fought her and the
Hmm.
Ten Rings guy, and they all beat each other up a bunch. Odin was super overpowered, but the Ten Rings kind of stood a chance against his staff.
Yeah,
Hela still didn't get her powers back, so I don't know how Odin didn't just like lay her out and knock her out in one shot, but she made it through most of the time. She kept
yeah,
getting his scepter away from him. There was a whole Odin fight. He
yeah,
was being a I'm not gonna lie, Odin was kind of being a prick this whole episode.
yeah.
And when they finally got Odin down on his knees, he was like, "Oh, good, you learned your lesson. This is what I wanted to teach you all along about being a good person." I was like,
Yeah,
"What the fuck?"
yeah,
I was like, "What kind of weird father parent is this?" I was like, "This is the Odin that we saw in Ragnarok that was kind of an asshole that we didn't normally get to see."
yeah,
And then, yes, you're right. When they go help stop Thanos, it ended like that. And I was like, oh, that would have been a great story that you just didn't show us.
yeah,
Like that was so it was a kind of a meh episode. I thought the idea had potential to be like a 8 or 9 out of 10, and I would say it flopped at like a 2 or 3 because
yeah.
I was like, wow, this was just mostly just a dialogue of Hela episode. So it was kind of weird for her to come back to portray her Hela character and then do
Yeah,
very
it's weird.
little with it.
They actually got a Cape Blanchett, right?
Yeah, yeah,
They actually got her because I'm pretty
yeah.
sure that was her in the role. Um, yeah, that's just a weird episode. Her
That's why
back.
I was like, because when we were watching the beginning, I was like, oh,
Yeah,
Kate Blanchett is back. She's gonna reprise her role as Hela. Here we go. We're gonna see Hela either do more bad stuff or change the tune.
yeah.
We'll see how we do. And then it was almost like about nothing. I'm like, did Kate Blanchett like even read the script before she did it? Like, I would have read the script and been like, guys, this is what you want me to come back for.
Yeah.
Do I need to be here? I'm like, this seems not that great.
I
Um,
don't have anything else to add to that. I think
All right,
that's
then we'll
pretty
go on
much it.
episode 8,
Yeah.
which I'm hoping you have more because I don't even remember this episode. This
Okay.
is what if the Avengers assembled in the 80s? Is that?
No,
Oh
that was episode
no,
2.
that's you're right. What is this one? I got what if the Avengers ass? That's what it says. I
What
can't.
is the Avengers ass?
What if the Avengers ass is all I see? There we go. What if the
I
Avengers
want to see that
assembled
one
in six?
episode.
Yeah, this is sorry. That's all I would. That's all it stopped at for. What if
Okay.
the
Yeah.
Avengers assembled in 1602? That's what it was.
1602 is a universe in the comics. Most notably, Spider-Man has a 1602 variant who's like a theater actor, which I guess Loki kind of took the role in this episode.
Yeah.
Um,
So
but yeah, it's
this
just
one,
like early Renaissance Avengers, which I think is fun and a concept on its own. But
it was fun. It was weird to
yeah,
make Thor the villain.
yeah,
Like Thor and Happy Hogan were the villain in this one, right?
yeah. I
Or
had a
was
lot of
Happy good?
I,
I don't know.
Happy was in here. Happy also had Hulk powers, which I
Yeah,
think they were saying like this is a universe that existed because these characters were like pulled in from like a future point in time.
yeah. Which I
Yeah,
immediately was like, I'm gonna assume tone. I was like, is Steve the guy out of time that we're not gonna know until
that
Iron
was the
Man?
hook, right? Like he's out of time, and that's what like created this whole. I forget the reason why, but he's like he's a future point, and this whole universe exists because of that.
Yeah,
Like,
which I thought was weird because they're like,
yep,
he's the one out of time, and we have to send him back. And then they send him back, but then I was like, but now isn't Captain Carter the person out of time? How come the world's not collapsing
he's
because of her now?
from a
I,
different time.
but so is Steve.
So it's
Which I just
that
thought it
that
was weird.
Steve is from a different time.
I
I
guess
don't
I
know.
don't know. I don't. It was weird because I was like, they're like someone's out of time and it's tearing our universe
Yeah,
apart. And then Tony built this thing to detect him, and I was like, oh look, it's Steve. He's out of time again. That was easy to pick up. And then we sent
yeah.
him back wherever the hell he's supposed to go. But then Captain Carter stayed there, and I was like, but now she's out of time. How come
Mm-hmm.
she's not still unraveling the fabric of this? I was like, shouldn't Iron Man now send
Mm-hmm.
her back to her? I don't
Yeah.
know. It didn't. There
I
was.
think
I
it's
was like,
because of the different like what times they're from. Because I think Steve is from a
uh,
future point of time of
like
like as the reason why that universe exists, and then Peggy
it
Carter's
just
from a different timeline. And
yeah, it just I think I needed it to be more explained or I needed to be more interested. I don't know.
I don't for what if anymore. Like I don't need things to be explained. You just tell me the story. I think it's kind of a waste of the 1602 story
Yes,
because
yeah,
like just make it that this time exists, like this timeline exists, and these characters exist earlier in time
yeah.
than they would normally.
Yeah, it's its own
Like
universe. It does you don't have to
Spider-Man Noir. Like Spider-Man Noir takes place as an earlier point of time. Those characters just happen sooner. Or maybe like just the time
yeah,
technology and stuff hasn't caught up, so it's earlier in time for those characters. So like you just make that. You don't have to hold like, oh, he's from the future. Like you don't need to do that.
yeah. And it was weird because they're in the Renaissance,
Yeah.
but then they all still kinda had powers though. And
Yeah.
I was expecting to not have powers, but like Ant-Man could shrink,
Yeah.
but he still had like his like regular clothes on, but with like
Yeah.
Ant-Man vibes to it. And I was like, I don't really know. Some people have
Yeah, when that
powers,
started happening and like
some didn't.
the yellow jackets appeared, I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm just stopping all sense of logic here.
Yeah. Cause
Go
like, it's like
ahead and do
Tony doesn't have
whatever the
an
fuck you
Iron
want
Man
to do.
suit. And I was like, Iron Man doesn't have an Iron Man suit,
Yeah,
but there's 1,000 yellow jackets as like knights.
yeah,
I was like, we got Thor as the villain, and then Wanda was there with powers, and I don't remember if she was good or bad. I couldn't remember. Was she good?
yeah.
I think she was good,
She
right?
was good,
She was good. So I was like, this is all out
barely
of
enough.
whack. I don't, yeah, I don't really fucking. It was weird.
These are
And
the
then,
points where it's like this show just does not matter to me.
yeah,
Like, I don't
exactly.
care.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah,
It was there. The only thing, yeah. Then Happy had Hulk powers, and I was like,
yeah.
I don't even know. And then Hawkeye was in it too. I don't. It was weird. I liked
It was
that
weird.
they had like Robin Hood vibes with Hawkeye and Ant-Man and stuff. Like
I like that. Yeah,
that stuff that stuff kind of been I think that like that universe was interesting. It didn't need to be have an extra outside of the universe
I
story.
absolutely agree. It would have been fun. It's just
That's
like
what
these are these characters. They just take place in a Renaissance era timeline. Of like that. That's fun. Just I want
that
that
is fun.
story.
Yeah.
Just make that story, and they
Yeah.
just didn't do it. It's a waste of the 1602 universe.
I agree.
Yeah,
We don't need everything to keep colliding. Like you already have
yeah,
what if. I'm looking at other universes. Stop colliding it with other fucking universes now.
yeah,
The only thing that happened at the end of this that I remember now is that Doctor Strange showed up and pulled Captain Carter out of her time and
yeah.
brought her somewhere, and which is what leads to the next episode, correct?
Yes,
I think that's what happened, right?
yeah. He says he needs her help.
Yeah. And the name of that episode number 9 was what if Strange Supreme intervened?
Yeah, and I can't remember how my brother described it. I think he's like just like all the lasers or like all the special effects, just throw them all in there. Like just so many laser beams and shit just all at once.
Yeah. This episode was about the Doctor Strange that we have already
Yep.
known, and the Captain Carter that we have already known go to Strange's temple collection of what did he call them? World-ending characters? Is that what it was?
I don't even remember a name. He took a bunch of
It was
characters to
world
take their
enders.
powers.
It was any kind of world ender. He
Yeah.
needed to harvest world enders like Age of Ultron, or it's not Age of Ultron, but Ultron, the
Ultron, yeah.
Infinity Ultron. Infinity
Infinity
Ultron.
Ultron, I guess it has a name. Yep.
Yeah, and we have Infinity Ultron. There was Killmonger was in there. I saw
Yep.
a gnome dude. I don't know what the gnome was, but there was a gnome there.
From
Um,
the
Tha-
there was a gnome in the Doctor Strange episode in the first What If. It was like the first thing, like he tried to take
okay,
on the tentacle kraken creature first, but it was like too much.
yeah.
And then he's like, okay, I'm gonna start off small, and then he brings in a gnome. He's like, yeah, I can take on this gnome. So it was like the first thing he
Hmm.
absorbed.
Okay. Yeah, there was a gnome there that me and my girlfriend did not remember. Thanos was in that jar. There was just some characters that I paused it so I could see the characters in these like little things, and pretty
Yeah.
much as soon as I had seen this, I was like, this is an evil Doctor Strange. He's just collecting people who are he called world enders,
Yeah.
and he needed to collect. He was also collecting the most powerful creatures, characters, creatures, whatever in the universe.
Mhm.
He was collecting. He was trying at the moment. I don't know who else he was collecting, but it was that woman that we talked about.
Hori.
Oh, Kahori, yeah. So he was trying to collect Kahori, and he needed apparently the most underpowered character ever to help her. They needed Captain Carter for some reason, who keeps having wild powers and
Yeah.
strength and durability even far past Captain America for some reason. So we needed Captain Carter. What a weird character. Like Doctor Strange has like infinite powers. Why are you
Would you be
getting Captain
saying would
Carter?
you be saying
So
the same
weird.
thing if Captain America was there though?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because I love Captain Carter. Don't get me wrong. I
Sure.
don't want
Yeah.
to shit on her character, but I was like, why is Doctor Strange? I know he's worked with her before,
Yeah.
but she doesn't have like the brain capacity as like you could have grabbed Tony Stark. You could have had a different Spider-Man who with more knowledge with a different thing to help web this character up. You could have got Thor. You
Yeah.
could have got there's like an infinite pool of universal characters that could have helped you. You just have a
I
super
don't
soldier with a
I
shield.
don't
I would have
think
said the
it's
same thing.
I don't think it's in terms of power. I think it's in terms of um I don't even know the word I'm looking for. It's just like
Somebody that gets him like a
commitment
friend.
and like no
Yeah,
like commitment and endurance and like they know
sure.
what to do and don't give up, and it's that kind of
Right.
like head first in the action kind of
Okay.
thing.
There, yeah, that makes. I guess that's a good way to look at it. Because to me, I was like, I would have said the same thing if he was trying to get Winter Soldier to recruit or or Steve Rogers. Because like to me, I was like, why
Yeah.
aren't you hitting up like Rocket Raccoon? He's fucking evil and he's a genius. Like he could
Yeah.
probably fucking find a way to capture Kahori. Because like to me, I was like, you're
Also, I think
evil. You're
anybody with like power or anything like that, I think he's using them to absorb them, right?
yeah.
I don't think he was planning on absorbing Captain Carter, unless he
I
was, and I
suppose.
forget that. But not from what I remember.
Yeah, I was just like, man, if you could just find a Rocket Raccoon who you could easily throw through a portal and get rid of in a second.
Would Rocket
Uh,
Raccoon agree though? Like, I feel like Captain Carter, she's a friend. She has that ability to like, I can do this.
yeah, but you
Um,
also, but then you run the exact risk of what happened, where she's like, oh wait, I'm gonna do what's right
right,
and
right,
save Kahori. Rocket Raccoon, you could have been like, hey, help me capture this thing because you're genius. I'll
sure.
pay you some credits and I'll send you on your fucking way, and you won't give a shit.
I
I was
think I think
I was just like, huh.
Doctor Strange is kind of misguided and thought that um like this is what Captain Carter would have done to protect the person that she loves if she was in the same position. But
Yeah.
he learned that's not the case.
It just seemed weird to have Peggy Carter for it. I love seeing her, and she had already had a couple good episodes.
Hmm.
I just didn't seem she was the right choice for
It's
this.
it's
But
just because she's the star of the show.
yeah,
That's it.
I suppose, yeah. But nonetheless, uh, we find out Doctor Strange is trying to capture Kahori, who is a good person and not a villain at all, and not a world
Yeah.
ender. And then we have a whole extra war that goes on when all these shelves get destroyed and all these other world enders and heroes collide, and there's a giant fight going on.
Yeah,
Um,
a lot of just random action. A bunch of random
it-
characters too.
yeah, you could literally watch this episode probably a couple times to
Mhm.
watch all the different little fights and characters on screen. Uh, but I didn't really find it that great of an episode. I think your
No.
brother was right, where he said the episodes
Yeah.
leading up to it were better than this one.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. You're right, because then all of a sudden they both get a crap load of powers. Like I think like Mjolnir was there, Stormbreaker was there, the shield was
Yeah.
there,
All the
um,
weapons.
all the weapons. Like there's I think Infinity Stones. Like she had an
Re-
Infinity Stone
yeah.
armor, right? She had a whole armor of Infinity
It
weapons.
really is a hey kid, you have all these action figures and you want to put all the weapons onto the one character.
Yeah,
That's really
yeah.
what it was.
Yeah. It was exactly that. It was so you gave Captain Carter a hammer with infinity powers and
Yeah.
the 10 rings, and you just wanted to fight a sorcerer supreme with it. So it was very much a
Yeah,
kid. Yeah, it was.
crazy when you're saying it like it out loud. It's like, yeah, that's just
Yeah.
honestly stupid.
I'm because what was happening was all
Like,
these characters were being sacrificed,
yeah,
and then they all just started throwing their powers or weapons to Captain Carter,
yeah,
and they were like, her and Kahori were like, "Cool, I got 10 rings, I got a
yeah,
shield, I got Odin's spear,
yeah,
I got an infinity armor." Like it was just like, how many more things can we add? I think like
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It was a lot. So there was a lot to going on, and then I don't even remember what happened. I think they took down.
I don't either.
Did they kill him or did they just? I
There's a
think
bunch of characters being lifted up and down,
yeah.
and then eventually they all get. I think Doctor Strange was sacrificed into the portal, and then everybody else got returned back to their reality, and then something happened at the end. I don't know.
Well, welcome to our super official MCU podcast. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah,
I like by
yeah.
the end of it, it's just like, what am I watching? Like,
It was it was a lot of gibberish. It was like they took a
yeah,
kid's comic book and were like, "Let's do that." Like a kid
yeah.
wrote it, and they're like,
Hmm.
"Yeah, that sounds good.
It
That's a
does
chapter."
feel like a kid wrote this.
And yeah, it did. A kid was like, "But what if you have a
Yeah,
cool girl with a lot
yeah.
of powers and she's hot and she fights a wizard?" And you're like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, that sounds good, kid. Let's do that." And they're like,
I'm so like I'm
"Yeah,
so all over the place with the show because there's really cool stuff like the 80s Avengers. I'm like, that's awesome. I want to see more of stuff like this. And then
yeah."
it's just like a big mess of stuff. Is like, I don't care. I don't care about this anymore.
I think what I like is I like the idea of the watcher looking at other universes, but
Hmm.
I don't need there to be an underlining plot with them all connecting because then I find it
Yeah.
ruins it and it gets messy and then I stop caring. If
Just
you
to,
show me a different variant of Iron Man in a different universe, or you show me a new character like Kahori, I'm way more interested than
yeah.
Doctor Strange coming back with his terrible new idea to I don't know, sacrifice people.
Yeah, I'd much rather have just the standalone stories. Just give me the
Ah,
standalone stories. That's all I want.
what
Um,
bothers me too is this whole plan was just to bring back a character with no powers, like his girlfriend. Like he had to do all this to create.
you're upset because she doesn't have powers?
Well, like I'm like that seems like something that should be super easy. Like out of all of the things that we've seen in the Marvel
No,
universe,
because she has it's a nexus point or whatever. It's a thing that has to happen. right?
Which is so dumb that you have to use a vast amount of energy to stop a nexus point. Like
Yeah,
we need every single world ender and every single hero to try and break a nexus point, and you don't even know if
that's the
it's
way
gonna
that it
work.
works. Yeah,
And you
it's
don't, but
most likely
he
not
doesn't.
going to work.
Yeah, which is crazy because Doctor Strange is literally, which we find out
Yeah.
is not even the bad. It's like Doctor Strange isn't even bad. There's just like all these different entities inside of him that are just like controlling him now. He has like no more willpower at that point. And I think at one point we kind of see Doctor Strange, and I
Hmm.
think he tries to fight through it, but he knows that
Yeah.
he's like there's like the dragon inside of him that's like controlling this or some weird shit. Like I don't know. There's just it's nuts.
Yeah.
But I'm like Deadpool brought all of his friends back to life in the ending credit scene of a movie. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought
I,
Doctor Strange was just so driven by love. I'm like, ah, that was the whole. That's what you needed over all this power for just to bring back one woman.
I think the more
Seems
important thing, it was
crazy.
just the question is was this the Watcher's plan the whole time? Because this gave closure to a a very risky situation that season 1 ended on,
Yeah,
where the entire existence of the multiverse, of life in the multiverse,
yeah,
hinges on the enclosure of these two characters being watched by an evil being who's isolated in this collapsed universe, right?
yeah,
And it's like something could go wrong at some point, and I think the Watcher, I think, might have even planned this because it's just conveniently this came back, and now that's no longer an issue. Those characters don't exist. That world doesn't exist. It's wrapped up. So like the
right.
multiverse can thrive now.
Yeah, but I definitely find I enjoyed the beginning half of What If season 2
Mm-hmm.
rather than the ending, the last bit.
Yeah.
I was really once Captain Carter got sucked up and the Watcher was all like, "Oh crap, what's happening?" Even I
Yeah.
don't know. I was like, "Oh, here we go, good stuff." And then I was like, "Just okay, that was a flop. Just okay." And then I was like, "That was the ending." I was like, "Ah,
Yeah.
it wasn't super great." It started strong. So, are they worth a watch? Yes. Are they worth multiple watches? Probably not.
No.
That's my ending. I liked some. I thought
There
ideas were
for
great.
me, it's like if somebody were to ask me, "Hey, I'm watching stuff in the MCU. Do I need to watch this?"
Yeah,
My answer is going to be no.
yeah. It's
It
what.
and it's like, especially if they're like, I don't know how I feel about animation, I'll be like, then don't watch it. It has no significance. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter. It's not a required MCU viewing.
yeah. I yeah, yeah. That's about it. The only episode I can recall off memory that I remember enjoying a lot was the one where Black Panther becomes a Ravager instead, or he
In
gets
season 1?
grabbed instead. Yeah, from season one
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
because we had Chadwick Boseman one more time.
Yeah,
That is the
sure.
only one.
I'm a little bit more down on that episode than most people.
Yeah,
I would say that um, I'd say that Doctor Strange was my number one
yeah,
of that season. I thought it was just a
yeah.
cool story. Um,
A lot of people were asking me too about this show. They were like, "What? How is There's like, is Iron Man in it?" And I was like, "Yeah, Iron Man's in it." And they're like, "Is it Robert Downey Jr.?" And I was like, "No." However, this actor, like his voice acting is
yeah,
phenomenal. Like it is,
yeah.
like I would, it matches like his mannerisms
Hmm.
through voice is so well to
You can
Tony's
tell it's
to
not
Robert.
Robert Downey Jr.,
Yeah,
but he's very good at emulating
very. Yeah,
Robert Downey
exactly. Like the voice is like the voice isn't Robert Downey Jr.'s voice. You can tell that,
Jr. Hmm.
but his mannerisms are so good with Tony Stark that I'm like, yeah, he's Tony Stark. I'm like,
Yeah,
it's not Robert Downey Jr., but it is Tony Stark. Like it is so good.
yeah,
So I would say like he is also a phenomenal Tony Stark. And like if they chose him to be a voice actor in a
yeah.
video game for Tony Stark, I'd be like, he's perfect. Like
Now
he's great.
the actor for Black Widow, which I think is also also does a great job, and
Yeah.
you can kind of feel like she has
The Natasha.
sort of the same kind of attitude and everything as Scarlett Johansson. right?
Yeah.
Very very similar vibes, but I know the voice actor so well from her role in as Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn, so that every time I hear her, I'm like, well, that's just Poison Ivy.
Oh yeah.
So that's all I hear every time she talks.
Yeah, I didn't. I started watching Poison Ivy the Harley Quinn show after, so
Yeah,
I don't see that. But
yeah.
I also I like the Poison Ivy in the Harley Quinn show as well. So I agree with you though. She does a good job as
Mhm.
Natasha Romanoff. What else do we have on this list? Are we gonna wrap it up with? Oh, we have Thunderbolts, Wonder Man, and well, then we'll talk
Oh
about how
shit!
we
Did I
like
forget some
the
news?
Marvels. We did forget some news. We have the
What did I
Wonder
miss
Man that
from the
just
news?
Wonder Man. We
Oh, I
had
wasn't too sure if
a
I wanted to bring that up because that's a really downer story. But yeah, you want to talk
just
about the
at least.
news?
Well, we just there was an article. I think it
I didn't
was
read that far into it, so you might know more.
okay. There was an article last week. Um, I don't know where they're at on the set of Wonder Man. Like I don't know how far along they are in
Yeah, to be again, to
production.
be clear,
But
this is a project that, as far as I know, still has not been officially announced yet. But they're like in the middle of production for it. So it is
yeah,
happening.
is it a movie or is it going to be a show?
I think it's a show.
Okay.
I might be wrong though. No, it's definitely not a movie because they would have made a bigger deal if it was a movie.
Yeah. Um, it's good. I'm excited for Wonder Man. Kind of
Yeah.
like I don't really know anything about it, but I just because we keep hearing about it, I'm not like looking forward to it a lot, but I am
To
like, come
be
on, can we just
fair,
let's go.
the extent to where we've heard about it is there was a rumor, there's
Yeah,
casting, which again, not officially announced, but there's casting.
right.
And then there was the writer's strike. So,
Yes, there's been
uh,
a lot going on.
it was in production during the writer's strike, so that's why we heard about it.
Yeah.
So,
Um. So the news last week was that cast member died. I had the name written
was it a
down
cast
somewhere.
member or was it somebody in the production?
It was in production, but yeah,
Okay.
you have. I just read what you wrote there. You wrote cast member dies on set.
Oh
He
shit.
was.
The cast member? Damn. Crew member, sorry.
Oh, did you?
The doc, you could tell I was in a rush or I was like
Yeah.
distracted writing this doc because under Fantastic Four, I put cast accounts
Oh
instead
yeah,
of announced. So there you go. Yeah, crew member dies on the set of Wonder Man.
yeah. So just to pay honor to it, I got it up here now. The
Okay.
crew member died Tuesday while working on the set of Marvel Studios' television series Wonder Man. The production member, 41-year-old Juan Spike Osorio, he died after falling from a catwalk. Uh, that is what the official thing said. So, very tragic. Uh, Not something I think that happens too much in all these action movies, but I
Seems like
think
it's
he
more
was.
frequently though, because there's the big one about the set of the movie Rust with uh Alec Baldwin,
Mm,
where a prop gun went off
that was about 2 years
and
ago, 3 years ago now, wasn't it?
yeah, and he killed
Yeah,
that the other
yeah.
crew member.
That seems
So
like it should have been avoided. This, I don't know a ton about it. Should have been
uh,
avoided, but it just sounds like this was like he was working and then he
yeah.
fell, which sounds like he should have been more secure on whatever he was doing.
Yeah, and I mean IATSE made a post about this, and you know we have
Yeah,
more spotlights on the unions for
yeah,
mostly actors lately, but I guess but
yeah,
for crew members too, because he would have been part of the union.
yeah.
So they say a statement on fatal incident at Radford Studio Center in Studio City. Everyone in the IATSE family is shocked and deeply saddened by this tragic loss.
Hmm.
We are working to support our member's family and his fellow members and colleagues. Safety on set is our highest priority, and we will assist Cal/OSHA in their investigation in any way that we can. If you feel unsafe on set for any reason, they gave a number and a hotline to call. So yeah,
Um, You just see his his thing was that he was a rigger, which film industry riggers are specialist scaffoldings who set up the structures for the lighting and scenario of a TV or film production. So that's
Gotcha.
what it was. I read more of it at the time, and I thought we were going to do our podcast the next day, so I didn't write any of it down. I was like, I'll remember that tomorrow, and then we moved our
Right.
podcast from last week to this week. So yes, he was a rigger, 41-year-old. Um, Very sad. It just sounds like his job has to do with working up high, anyways, setting up cables and lighting and stuff. So I don't know if there was an accident or obviously it's an accident, but I don't. It just seems like he should have been more secure.
Yeah.
So that's sad. But as of February 8th, looks. Oh, where am I at here? February 8th, his GoFundMe has already raised more than $150,000 for him. So
Oh, cool. Good.
that's nice to hear. That's a lot of money that could go to his family and
For sure.
hopefully his funeral and stuff. So yeah, sad nonetheless. I just felt like since we cover so much news, we shouldn't go over somebody who worked hard on this and
Yeah.
obviously
Yeah.
passed away. With that said, I guess we can go. What is your news on Thunderbolts? I don't.
Yeah, I'm
There's a lot of
seeing
words
now
I
the
don't.
stuff I missed. I'm like, how did I miss all this? We got casting for Thunderbolts. Apparently, so I'm gonna butcher these names. I'm so sorry.
I can't even
So,
read what you wrote there because the names are like wild to me. I got the
I'm,
first word,
I'm
and that
so
was it. It
sorry
looks
here.
like it's
Yeah. So Geraldine Viswanathan
this
is
one thing. Oh, well done.
set to join Marvel Studios Thunderbolts as she replaces Io Edebiri, who is departing the project due to scheduling after production was delayed uh due to the strikes, which we've seen with Stephen Yeun as well. He was set to play the role of Sentry, and now he has stepped down for scheduling conflicts as well. I didn't
Mhm,
even know Io was cast in this movie, and I don't
mhm,
know for what role. So
mm.
this is all news to me, but there you go. More casting news on Thunderbolts. I think we're going to hear more about Thunderbolt stuff in the near future.
Yeah, I think that's the end of your document that you have for. We
No,
covered
there's one
everything.
more. There's one more. There's a big one.
Oh, I
Um,
don't even see.
it's in the more section here. So Mark Ruffalo
Ah,
was
let's
in
look
a
for that.
panel, and then somebody asked him. Hold on, I'm full screen here. Somebody asked him, "Hey, is Bruce Banner the Hulk gonna be appearing in Captain America? What's the new title now?
Brave New World.
Brave New World."
Yep.
And he was like, "Yeah." And then he was asked, "Is there anything like you can say about it?" "Yeah, it's gonna be great." And like, okay, so it seemed like an exclusive. Oh shit, he broke the news that
Yeah,
Hulk's gonna appear in Captain America.
yeah,
He sees all the news later, and he's like, "Oh shit, no, I couldn't hear apparently during the panel. I thought they were asking, like, is that the new Marvel thing that's coming out? Like the next thing is
yeah,
Captain America." And he's like, "Yeah, that's the next thing." And so when he
yeah.
was asked,
So
"Is there anything you could say?" Like he's like looking forward to it. Like, yeah, it's gonna be great, right? So
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Hulk's not gonna appear in Captain America: Brave New World.
That's hilarious because when I saw that news breakout, I was like, what is this movie gonna be? I was like, Hulk is gonna be in it. I was like, he's just gonna be like probably a small role as Bruce Banner, right? And I'm like, why is Bruce Banner hanging out with Winter Soldier and Captain America, like Falcon or Sam Wilson,
Mm-hmm.
Captain America? I'm like, how is that gonna clash? Like last time we saw him, he's with his cousin and She-Hulk. Then we
Yeah.
saw him with the Ten Rings guys, and I'm like, now he's this. I'm like, where is that going to be? Like, how does that make any sense? So then I saw like immediately, like the next day, he's like,
Yeah.
just kidding, I'm not going to be in it. I was like, what the fuck? So
There
like
is
that's
going to
that's so
be a
funny.
Hulk in the movie because, like, I'm pretty sure we've talked about it to death. It sounds like there's going to be a Red Hulk in the movie.
In this
Um,
one.
yeah, it's just the
Interesting.
expectation at this point.
Okay.
And for to further that, this isn't something in my docs because I'm like, this is just it's not confirmed.
Yeah.
Like, who knows where this picture came? I don't know where this picture came from exactly, but apparently there's these Captain America Brave New World jackets and like other like on set stuff, right?
Yeah.
And this is one of the um embedded patches in the jacket. It's a red Hulk hand around Captain America's shield.
That's funny
So
because I saw that and I thought I was like, that kind of looks like Hulk's hand. But then I was like, oh, maybe it's Red Guardian crushing like Captain America's shield.
Red Guardian doesn't have a red hand though.
Yeah, I didn't know. I was like, because I was like, maybe that's their version of Red Guardian. Like,
Yeah.
because I don't know what color his
I've
gloves are.
I've
So I
heard
thought,
Red Skull. Like people are like, "Oh, this Red Skull's returning because it's a Captain America movie."
yeah,
Um to what I would say is Red Skull has a red skull, not a
yeah,
red hand.
yeah.
So no, this is a Hulk hand.
Is Red Skull's face all burnt from chemical burns? I can't remember what happened. What is that? What's this
he
from?
took Erskine's first serum to create a super soldier, and he lost his
Ah,
skin on his face.
but he still has the superhuman strength like Captain America, but
Yes, yes, he's like
not as
Captain America, but with a
right.
red skull, and he's a Nazi.
Yes, yeah, yeah. See that when I saw that, I actually thought I thought I was like, that looks like a Hulk hand, but then I was
Yeah,
like, I didn't even think of Red Hulk, and I was like, oh, that must be like what I said, Red Guardian. I was like, must be like a
yeah,
Red Guardian like glove like crushing Captain America, but that was a stretch,
yeah,
so I
yeah.
don't know what that's from. Uh, okay, yeah, interesting. That's funny
Do
for
you
Mark
have
Ruffalo.
do
Mark
you have
Ruffalo is
time?
hilarious.
Do you have time to talk about the Marvels? Because I really want to talk about the Marvels, and um, I really don't want to push it, and I'm fine to keep going if you are.
Oh yeah, I think that's I think we've covered everything that's on this
Yeah.
document, and then we can wrap up with talking about our thoughts on the Marvels. I just
Mm-hmm.
watched it, so it's fresher in my head, so I might as well get
Awesome.
it out of the way now. After that, do we have anything else to go forward with, or no? That's about all I got
Not
left.
that I'm aware of, unless there's something you want to add.
No, that's about all. That's about all I got. So, probably the next thing, like whenever we watch Madame Web, we'll talk
Yeah,
more
I
about
did
it.
have
But
it. I did have a thing here where like somebody posted on Reddit like every open plot point in the MCU, which I thought that would be fun to go through if we didn't have a million things to talk about. So
yeah, we could do. Yeah, we'll do that. We can do go through that next
yeah,
time. But yeah, the Marvels. I was actually excited to like talk about this just to see our
I'm very curious to see what you think.
opinions.
So I'm gonna let you go first.
Um, I thought the trailer looked a lot of fun when I saw them all
Mm-hmm.
teleporting between each other's powers.
Yeah.
I thought the way they showed why their powers are entangled didn't really make sense to
No,
me.
they did not explain that
Which,
very well, at least.
yeah. So I've only watched this once. So anybody who's gonna watch this and is like, "You guys are
Yeah.
totally wrong about this." Okay,
Sure.
sorry.
Sure.
I only watched the movie once, so it wasn't super great to start off with.
This is
Like
the shortest.
the
One
beginning.
of my criticisms: shortest MCU movie. They had
Yeah.
time to explain that.
Yes.
So
We were in space, and then we were on Earth, and then we were in space, and then we were on Earth, and we were on
that's my
space, and
biggest
then we
thing
were on a
about this
different planet.
movie. Yeah,
We
it's
were
like
everywhere.
the
It
quick
was
cuts from the
yeah,
beginning. Everything just happened fast, fast, fast. There's no
yeah,
time in between to breathe. And I'm
yeah.
like, this is why is this the shortest Marvel movie? They could have spent more time with the movie and just like
Mhm.
made it a little bit more fleshed out, you know? That's all
So
I really wanted from this movie, to be honest.
yeah, me too. I was like,
Yeah.
you had two characters who are still developing.
Hmm.
Let's see more of them without just shoving it down our face. Like just they're like, here's the fucking information, and they're like, all right, now go with the character. And I was like, I'm still digesting. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't even know what their powers really are yet.
Yeah.
So, um, okay, so the villain comes across the bracelet for whatever reason is buried somewhere else than where
Hmm.
Kamala Khan got her bracelet.
Yeah.
So I
But I think both
no really
Korean
background story
origin.
about that.
Were they
Kree
both?
origin?
Did they establish that they were both Korean origin?
I think so. Or I
Okay,
thought it
because
was
I know
ancient.
in
I thought they just said it was ancient. They just said it was ancient.
sure,
I thought.
sure. I feel
Yeah.
like the Kree just knows more about it at the very least because I mean
Yeah.
in Miss Marvel they found the band on a Kree hand, like a severed Kree hand.
Mm,
So I feel like their their origins relate to the Kree.
okay.
Yeah.
Um, the villain. What was she doing with her power? What was her whole thing? She was trying. I know she was trying to get back at the Annihilator stuff, or whatever. But you know those. we see him in Guardians of the Galaxy when they open up like those hexagonal portals and
Yeah.
they teleport through time or through space.
Yeah.
Those are created, correct? So
Yeah.
maybe I misheard, but was she creating a bunch of unstable uh points, and that is what created their powers to be entangled when they touched them and they were unstable?
Oh, in terms of their power, how their powers are like entangled,
Yeah,
I I don't remember if that was exactly explained because I was waiting for that in the movie, and I'm like, I don't feel like we're getting that answer at any point. Like when are they gonna
right.
properly explain that? So I don't know if I missed it and all
Yeah,
the craziness that was happening all at once.
because
But I didn't get it.
yeah, because what I saw
Yeah,
from what I thought I remember, the villain was creating these hexagonal, whatever you want to call them. I forget what they're
yeah,
called. The space ports.
sure,
She was creating unstable ones,
yeah,
and mm, when Rambo was
yeah.
was investigating one at the same time Captain Marvel was investigating one, and when they touched, their powers
Oh,
entangled.
oh, is that why
I
they're
don't
entangled? Because
I
like
guess, but I don't understand why Miss Marvel's powers are now entangled
because she has
because
the
of her bracelet.
bracelet. I'm like, she's the only one that
Okay,
makes sense why she's doing. I'm like, how does this affect the other ones? Because they have light based powers? Is that the only
right.
reason? But I
Now,
yeah,
with that logic,
okay.
why was the villain's powers not also entangled with theirs?
I don't know.
Because I felt that would have been a more interesting dynamic when every time they
Yes,
use their powers,
that'd be
the
interesting. Yeah.
villain the villain also got teleported somewhere. Because I'm like, how funny, how much more interesting I would have felt if Captain America goes to attack the villain, and the
Yeah.
villain uses her powers, and then Marvel just decks Kamala Khan. You know what I mean?
Maybe he has okay, so
Like
if I was to give us a reason to try to quantify this, not to not blow our minds trying to think about it
yeah.
too hard. Maybe it has something to do with her being Kree. Because like
I,
The Bengals seem like they're Kree in design, so like maybe only the
yeah,
Kree are supposed to use them, and so they can't
maybe.
get entangled. That's
I
what
just thought,
that's just an idea
yeah.
I'm throwing out there. They never explained it.
Now, right. I just from my immediate like with like how Marvel just does things that are convenient or whatever, I just
Sure.
thought how inconvenient and fun would it have been if the villain was
Yeah.
like, "Oh fuck, I was not expecting this entanglement, and now I am thrown teleporting with you morons everywhere and fighting." And then now we got the three people fighting each other, and
Yeah.
then I felt like that would have shown, um, like now, because
To be
like
fair,
Captain Marvel,
though,
yeah,
the fact that they didn't do that, when they're showing like them trying to figure out how their powers work together,
yeah,
I think that was a fun part of the movie. So I'm
yeah.
kind of glad that they didn't do that with the villain. But yeah, it would have made it pretty interesting if they included the villain in that too.
I think if they just didn't do it at, like their powers didn't get tangled at first, but then when they did fight the villain, then
Hmm.
her powers got entangled after. Then I would have felt it would have been like because like I was like, man, Captain Marvel is like we've seen her as one of the most powerful characters, and
Sure.
now I understand that her gauntlet was absorbing her power. So now this character is as powerful as Captain Marvel, but
Hmm.
Captain Marvel's powers still come from an Infinity Stone,
Yeah.
whereas this was just like a gauntlet. So okay, we're gonna say that she's charging her up, and now she's also powerful. Captain Marvel is like an infinite vat of power, which I still think should at times overthrown her.
Hmm.
So to now you also were gonna throw two more heroes in the mix to help you fight this character. To not just knock this villain on her ass in like a minute was just honestly I felt really difficult to understand. Like I was like, it just seems like Captain Marvel should have destroyed her.
Well, she's also a Kree and an accuser, right? And she has the
Right.
band. So
I, I just felt that wasn't portrayed well enough on screen because to
sure.
me she just felt not strong. So then for her to be like as on par with Captain Marvel, I didn't buy it, I guess. And I don't know if anybody else felt that way, but I just was
Yeah.
like, I understand she's absorbing her power. I understand she's Kree.
Well, I mean, like
I'm
even Ronan was like ready to like we're gonna take on Captain Marvel before he died, right? So I feel
yeah.
like I don't know, just her being Kree, her being an accuser, and having the band, I think is enough to stand against Captain Marvel.
I know, but
But
then you throw Captain Marvel with another 2 people helping her
yeah,
with different
true.
powers,
Yeah,
and I was like, "How are the 3 of them really having an issue?" I was like,
yeah.
"They all have different powers.
I think
They
it's
all
mostly
have."
the band that's bringing
I
up
know,
everything.
which is so crazy because Kamala has the same band, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"How are you not?" How I was like, "Why are you not shooting at Kamala Khan and charging Kamala Khan's powers?"
All we know is that
And
the
I was like,
band
"It's
is
so."
bringing out her mutant ability, right? I
Right.
think that's all we know about how the band works with her. So
Yeah.
the other band works with I don't remember. To be honest, I don't even know if they said her name in the movie. So I don't know the villain's name. But
I don't
the
either.
the new accuser, if the way that it works with her being Kree and everything, maybe it just works differently. But I
Yeah.
don't know.
Okay, so besides the fighting and the
Yep.
powers, what did you think of everybody's like what did you think of all the extra stuff like with
Yeah,
I don't know, the rest of the story.
to be
But
um like just like my baseline thoughts,
yeah.
the little like little issues with it being like way too quick and like a lot of like stuff happening way too fast.
Yeah.
um like aside from that and thinking that it could have been fleshed out into a little bit longer and a better movie, I thought it was a
Yeah.
fun movie. um
Okay, yeah.
it wasn't amazing, it's not like high tier Marvel. I think Captain Marvel is a better movie, but this had a
Yeah.
different vibe, and I thought it was fun. And I was laughing throughout the movie. I was smiling at points. There's some points
Um
like what are we doing here? What are we really doing? Like why is things moving so quickly? But I think like overall, I had an enjoyable time watching it.
yeah, I that's exactly what I was saying. I was like, Did I hate it? No."
No,
Was it one of the best?
no,
No. Was it fun?
yeah,
Yeah. Was it like probably more for kids or like a younger audience? Maybe.
sure, yeah.
Um it was
It had
different.
some adult themes like Miss Marvel wanted to save everyone, and Carol being like, we have to just go, like
Right.
that's sort of like dark decisions like that. But it was pretty much a kids movie.
I wish they showed more of the dark stuff in it. Like, I wish we
Yeah, I feel
saw,
like
like,
that was
more.
gonna like play a bigger role, and
It was
that
very
also
it felt
happened very.
PG-13.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
also happened very quick too. It's like they didn't
yeah,
give that enough time to breathe. And also I thought that was
yeah,
gonna have like a bigger impact for Kamala, but she just kind of brushed over it, and she's just like, yeah, I get why you did it. Like that's
yeah.
it. Like that's all you're
I
gonna really talk about. But
yeah, I really wanted more character development from her, or
yeah,
for her to, like, see her hero in a different light, but she only
yeah,
kinda did, not really, but
because
she was
like
more like, "You're still my favorite person ever," all the whole fucking time with just,
and
like, super cheery the whole movie, and I'm like, "You
yeah, and
gotta go through some trauma, girl."
this would have been a great opportunity to bring in something from the comics, which is very much like this, where Miss Marvel and a bunch of other like younger Avengers were brought into the main Avengers team. So they're
Yeah,
kind of like recruiting them and taking them under the wing and being part of the main team. So Miss Marvel being a huge Captain Marvel fangirl, she's on the
mhm,
same team as Captain Marvel. Some big event happens. I think it might have been Civil War II was the storyline, but
yeah,
Captain Marvel does makes some decisions, as well as some of the other adult Avengers, that Miss Marvel is not happy about, and she can't
yeah,
believe that Captain Marvel made this decision, as well as some of the other younger Avengers. So she just sees Captain Marvel as a different person than what she brought up in her mind, and she's like, I can't be living in your like you can't be like
right,
I can't be in your shadow anywhere or whatever. I gotta like do my own thing because you're not the person I thought you were. And then they formed their own teams called the Champions at that point. They're like all the younger characters like we can do this ourselves. We don't need the adults. Um so I feel like that was kind of like what they were priming up in this movie, and it just didn't go anywhere. It was just over way too quick.
mhm. I gotta comment on 3 things I had problems with almost immediately, though.
Sure, yeah.
Just, like, they're small things, but it just had me unable to buy it.
Okay.
When we teleported the Kree, I believe it was the Kree guys through the cat that got teleported into the bedroom of Kamala Khan or her house, and we had that
Yeah.
whole fight scene. You cannot tell me that the Kree could not take out her parents in, like, 1 or 2 like, one like,
No, but it was a funny
you couldn't
scene though.
land it was a funny scene, but you tell me
Yeah.
you couldn't land one blow that would have killed Kamala's,
I'm sure,
like,
like,
a mom or dad?
realistically, yes, but
And that's
I was fine with it. I'm like, this is funny. This is fun. I'm enjoying
right,
this.
I felt it would have changed the tone of the movie if we had killed off one of Kamala's parents in a fight.
Yeah,
Like, we lose Peter's parents all the time. We lose different
yeah, but
characters, whatever, that
so
change who they are. I was like,
yeah,
Kamala, I was like, you could have changed Kamala, like, growing forward or, like, growing her character, but now we still have, like, that child essence of her, which I understand is her
yeah,
character, but
yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
felt I was like, "Why did you even have them fighting her
No,
parents?"
no.
Like, they didn't
So Kamala is not Peter Parker. She's definitely a newer
yeah,
representation of what Peter Parker was at the time when Peter Parker existed.
right,
So she's a Peter Parker for a new age, but she's not Peter Parker. So she does not need that Uncle
uh,
Ben dying.
right.
She does not go through the like that sort of like dark twisted thing. There's definitely a specific tone that they were going for this movie.
She's
Uh
just supposed to be fun and quirky and
yeah.
full of childhood wonder. I understand that. I just felt I was like, "Then don't have her parents fight Kree right away." I'm like, "They should have died." Like, I'm sorry, but one
I
person would have died in that fight. Like, they should have. Like, they
yeah, I disagree. I love her family. I want her family to be fine, and I thought it was a funny scene. So
it
I
was a funny scene, but I'm like, "Okay, if Captain America was fighting one of those Krees,
Captain
you
America's
would have."
different though.
Right, I understand. I'm just saying
Yeah.
you would have had like this the Kree like Captain America, like you would have had a Kree attack Captain America and he would have like had to block it and then there would have been like a little bit of struggle. But
Yeah.
you're gonna tell me that a human with no powers hits a Kree with a lamp and he
Yeah.
stumbles back or gets disoriented? I'm like, no, it would have been like
Let me make this clear for you, Jordan, okay?
eh,
Um there's a character who took out Doctor Doom with ease. I think maybe even Galactus, I can't remember.
mhm.
This character is called Squirrel Girl.
I
Took
know it's
him
her
out.
powers of squirrels.
Yeah, she took him out by controlling an army of squirrels.
Then but you can't tell me a human is gonna hit a Kree and the Kree's gonna stumble backwards. I'm like, no, you are already more superior as a human. Like you're already more superior than a fragile human with no powers. So like a Kree
I
should have been able to kill. Okay, whatever. That was my first problem I had.
sure, sure.
Okay,
I
my
disagree
second.
with you, but I understand your point.
Okay, okay, even if you didn't kill them,
Yeah,
there was a couple of moments where like he hit the Kree with like a pillow or a sofa cushion or something, and the
yeah,
Kree was like, "Oh, I fell backwards." I'm like, "Did
yeah,
you though?" I was like, "That was bullshit." At least hit me with like you pushed a dresser on me. Like there were more things in the room that I could have
yeah.
felt like whatever. I was like, at one point the Kree like someone just kicked a couch and it flew over with the person on it and he was fine. I was like, "You don't have a broken arm from a couch landing on you?" I don't know. There were just little things where I was like, okay, it can be silly, but you got to give me some realistic. One of the parents should have had a broken arm in that fight. I'm like, there's no way. Like, you should have had a cast the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Whatever. That was my first problem. I had fun with the scene. It was just after where I was like, how are they completely fine? Every time they got teleported, like everyone was like, what the fuck's happening? Oh,
Yeah.
you're being attacked. I got to help you. But then the parents were like, I got it. I hit him with a lamp. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. So
Yeah.
that was my first problem. It
I
wasn't a
liked
huge
it.
issue. I
I
liked
liked
it. I
it.
just thought I needed like if you one of somebody walked away with a scratch or a cut or a broken arm, I would have been like, okay, they at least broke an arm in that fight, whatever. My next issue was you let the parents come along on a secret
Yes.
super mission up into space. Fine, I get it because your
Yeah.
kid is underage.
Yeah.
Why'd you bring her brother along? Why'd her
Well,
brother need to come?
what was
What?
he doing? Like he had nothing else to do.
Yeah, he had nothing else to do. So why
Yeah.
does he got to go on a secret top mission? He could watch the house. Like, can he, the parents might be like, I
His
don't know,
wife's away. She's out busy doing something. I don't know. I don't even know if they explained why she wasn't
but I
there.
get it.
But he's like,
Why
yeah,
is
yeah.
Nick Fury let?
I'll call him along.
I know, but why did Nick Fury let him? That's my problem. I'm
Because
like, okay, fine.
they wouldn't leave him alone. Like they're like they in, like I kept
No,
telling them
there's
no, and
see, you're
they insisted.
no, no. It's just Nick Fury's like, fine, I get it. The parents
Yeah.
are gotta come because whatever. But then you're not bringing the brother, you're not bringing the aunt, uncle, you're not bringing the whole Kamala family because they decided to just talk. Like even Nick Fury was like, don't take pictures, and he was like, okay, and then still took pictures on his phone. I was like, you guys have no security. I was like, this is why Hydra infiltrated you guys because you're just letting anybody come along because they know somebody. That's why Hydra got you guys, and you're gonna let it happen again. I don't know. I didn't buy it. I was like, me and Jess were like, okay, we get it. She's underage. She's a super
Yeah.
weapon, sorta.
bring the parents. Why is the brother coming? We're like, brother
Why
does not
not?
need to come.
Why
I
not?
mean, but see,
They had room.
that's where things like Thor: Love and Thunder happen, because you just keep letting silly things happen for comic reasons. Even though I'm like, nah, Shield probably should have said no, because that's how Hydra got you last time. No, you gotta.
I
I need more. Like we didn't need the brother there. The brother
I
could have
like the
been left
brother. I'm
out, but
happy the brother was there.
yeah, okay, whatever. I was like, fine, sure, whatever. All right, let's jump forward to the cats. The cats, hilarious
The
scene. I love that
Flurkins,
they're
yeah.
there. Goose, as a female goose, has
Yep.
babies, and that's what all those eggs were. And I was like,
Mhm.
cool. Now we got a bunch of cats. Hilarious scene with the guy over the radio saying, "Please let the cats eat you. Don't be afraid. Whatever."
Can I
And
interrupt here?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so this when we first saw the eggs,
Yeah,
I'm surprised I was confused because I'm like, oh, I wonder what that is. And
yeah,
then like me and my brother were, like theorizing, like well, I don't know, like maybe it's this or that, whatever. And then they start saying like, oh yeah, they're like just appearing at other points of the ship, and I'm like, it just clicked to me. I'm like, oh my god, I know what this is. And then my brother's like, what are they like somebody like planting bombs in the ship? And I'm like, no, 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 it's much different than that. And I'm excited for this. I think, I hope you're gonna love it because I'm like,
yeah.
this is gonna be fun. He's like, okay, and then eventually he's clicked in. He's like, oh, these are eggs, aren't they? I'm like, yeah. so so yeah. Then we got the cat scene, and to be honest, I think this is probably the funniest scene in all of the MCU that I can think of. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, this is hilarious. I was laughing. I can't think of another time when I was like laughing so much in the MCU.
Yeah. Yeah. So I enjoyed the scene. I thought it
Yeah.
was hilarious. Here's my other problem,
Okay.
because this is where science and magic are apparently the same thing again.
Sure.
Because okay, I can sort of wrap my head around us up. I know, I understand that it's not a cat. It's a flurgan.
Yep.
It's a different thing. But at the end of the day, its stomach is still inside of that cat, and it is still a certain
No, no,
size.
no, no. So
So
it's a it's kind of like
dimension.
like D&D or whatever, you have a bag of infinite holding or whatever.
Sure,
It's
sure.
like just an infinite storage
So you're gonna
space.
tell
So
me
it's like its
so
own like little universe inside of its stomach. So that's
I
what these
hate that.
beings are, right?
I
Uh
understand.
and
Oh
I was
god.
watching a little like behind the scenes clip. So when they
Mhm,
like slow down the visuals of the cats, they're
mhm.
not shrinking down. They're not being condensed what they're
Yeah,
eating. Their
yeah.
like jaws are like opening up wide to take the entire thing that they're eating. So
Right,
they're
right.
not being crushed or anything. They're just being sucked into a void.
I know, and that's where I was like, "Okay, I get that it's an alien, we're gonna put a void
Yeah,
inside of a smaller space." So
yeah,
I'm like, this is like I was like, I get when like okay, so just bear with me for the beginning part of this. I
sure.
understand when they were eating Korean stuff, they're durable, they're going in, they're not breaking apart. I was like, so then I was like, when you're grabbing humans and
Yeah.
you're just pulling them in, I was like, so if I was going with the logic with the size of the cat Flurgan, I
Hmm.
was like, these humans should literally just be mush and just be, when they get regurgitated, they're back into nothing. But then I was like, okay, but then there's gonna be some bullshit that the Flurgan has a void full of space, and
Hmm.
his stomach is basically a Harry Potter backpack that just is
Yep.
endless, and you can just pull infinite space. So I was like, okay, this Flurgan is a mix of its biology and science, and it's biology and
Well,
magic mixed together pretty much. It is just his stomach is
it's
just space. And I
it's
was like, okay,
comics. That's
I
all it is.
understand. I just I was just like, so I like it better when it was eating people,
Yeah.
and then I was like, oh,
And
they're
you thought
dead.
it
Like
was
they
just
just
like
they're
digesting
like,
them.
yeah, I
Yeah.
was like, they're fucked. But then I was like, no, I understand why I kept spitting things out, and then
Yep.
everything that got spit back out was whole. So I was like,
Now
okay, so it's
it
not
could have
actually
two
could
interdimensional
have
stomachs though, right? One for
true.
digesting, one for storage, right?
And that's just something I wish that somebody said at one point. Like they're like, "Oh, we actually did some background research
Yeah,
on Goose, and it
we don't
turns
know
out that
anything
his
about
thumb."
their biology.
Yeah,
So.
and that's why I was just like, "Ah, man, it was so much better when they just was eating and crushing things," which I got for the comic factor, but I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, we're just eating a bunch of humans and they're fine." I also
I just
thought,
love the scene. It's just everybody's running, just freaking out,
yeah,
just like just screaming,
Yeah.
and then they're just like holding the cats, like, no, we gotta go into the cat, and they're just like,
Yeah,
it's a
and I'm
funny
not.
scene.
That's why I was like, okay, so the
Yeah.
Flurgan's mouth is space, so that way all
Yeah.
these people are fine. That was just my brain trying to wrap my head around it, and I was like, that's
Sure.
I don't know. I didn't love it, but the scene hilarious. I love the idea of crew members running from them, and then like Captain Marvel, like or Miss Marvel, she throws up a wall and she goes sorry, and she
Yeah.
just has like she holds up a Flurgan and eats somebody. Imagine
Yeah.
that crew member being like, oh my god, Miss Marvel just
Yeah.
sicked a cat on me and ate me. Like, she is not a hero. And then all using their powers to
Yeah.
fuck up the crew it's hilarious. It's a
To
good scene.
be fair, I would be running too, and I'd be like,
No, me
I'm
too. I was
not
like,
letting this thing eat me.
I am not trusting that stomach. I don't know where I'm going. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just and then you're covered in like some sort of goo and it spits you all back up. I was hoping it was gonna spit everybody out in one ship and you were gonna see people like up against the
Yeah,
wall
I was
like this
starting
and
to.
like oh
It's like
yeah.
hairballs are just spitting them out.
Now, I forgot now, that scene also gave me another problem. Now,
Yeah.
you're gonna tell me when you guys came back to Earth, Nick Fury, I get he's leading one of the ships. Then you have Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
Then you have the cat. But you let all of Miss Marvel's family members not get eaten over vital crew members who could have helped you navigate stuff. And I was like,
Yeah.
nope. I was like, civilians, you get eaten first. And then I was like, how come Nick Fury doesn't have a co-pilot or somebody who makes any more sense than her parents not being eaten? I I was like, okay, so Miss Marvel's cool, but just because you're friends with the family member, the parents don't get eaten or the brother. I was like, y'all just get to you get first class, I guess. Didn't make sense to me over anybody else. Literally
What
anybody else on the ship with significance.
what if
Like,
the cats were full?
then sounds like civilians go first over agents and other
Yeah.
people on the ship who make any kind of more sense to not be eaten. But we did it because it was fun. And
Yeah.
I fucking hate that. That drives me nuts. If you want to have fun, you can have fun. Have fun having the civilians get eaten and see how they react when they come back out. But I don't with them taking
They get
priority
yeah.
makes no sense and makes Shield seem weak to me.
It's at
And
the
that's
sword now. The whole
yeah.
shield doesn't exist.
They're called S.W.O.R.D. now? That's
Yeah.
that's what they're called? When did
S.W.O.R.D.
that happen? I missed that part.
WandaVision.
Oh. Yeah. It's been that's been 3 years since I watched that.
Yeah.
So S.W.O.R.D.
Yeah.
S.W.O.R.D., you're gonna be infiltrated by Hydra pretty quick if you keep this kind of rules up because
Hydra, I don't know if Hydra really exists either.
Yeah. No, I think
in Agents of
Hydra's...
S.H.I.E.L.D. they established they do, but I think it was just a small group. I think they got weeded out after a while.
Yeah. See, okay. Where
also
else?
in Ant-Man, that's another loose plot thread that didn't come back. Is like the Hydra's buying the Yellow Jacket, and then they just left, and then we haven't heard from them again.
Yeah.
No, I get like the frustration in logic. However,
yeah. Just because there was so little logic in the show, I think every part I started like. I was like, if you had at least 2 things that I couldn't wrap my head around, fine. But it was like everything. I was like, was that explained? Was that explained?
We didn't need logic in this show or in this movie. It was just a fun time. The family were fun. The Flurkins were fun. I enjoyed the decisions that they made there. That was fun.
What did you think of Princess Marvel and her singing planet?
That was a point of the movie I did not like. Not that so a planet that exists that where everybody sings as a form of communication, I don't think is outside of the realm of the MCU and comics in general. I'm like, sure, I'm not happy about it, but I get that this exists. It's something.
Right.
It's not the most absurd thing we've seen in the MCU, right? But I didn't really enjoy it that much. I like the joke where like, oh, what, he's just talking so he can understand you, and she's like, yeah, well, he's bilingual.
Yeah, I like that
that's
too.
A funny joke, but
because when I was looking at Jess, I was like,
Yeah,
are we literally gonna have her talk to her husband and they're both gonna be singing the whole
yeah,
time? I was like, this is bullshit. I was like, this is
yeah,
so stupid.
yeah.
I was like, it doesn't seem right for um who's the actress that plays Miss Marvel? That's Brie Larson.
Captain Marvel, yeah, Brie Larson.
Captain Marvel, Brie Larson. Yeah, so Brie Larson, I was like, she was mad when they wanted her to smile
Hmm.
on the poster of her cover, and she goes, "No, I want my character to look really mean, like an action hero." And she
Yeah,
took this whole stance. But then her next movie, she's singing and she's in a pretty dress like a princess, and I was like, it doesn't really seem like Brie Larson fought harder against this, unless she found it fun.
it's mostly
That's
it's the type of people who are telling her you
yeah,
need to smile, like like those type of people.
yeah.
It's like, um, yeah, it's just the intention behind that statement, right?
I'm
Not
glad she
not
said it
that
was a
not that
diplomat.
she's like I can't smile or I can't dress like a princess. It's
Yeah,
just it's just saying to those type of people, fuck off, right? And I
yeah.
agree with her. So
I get that it was more of a diplomatic, since she said it was a diplomatic arrangement. So it
yeah,
wasn't like she was head over heels in love with this guy, because it doesn't seem like her character.
they died, right?
Um,
That planet died.
I don't
I'm,
remember.
I'm pretty sure. I'm
He,
pretty sure they pieced the fuck out of that planet and everybody died.
I think Miss Marvel said we can't do it again or something, and then they
Yeah.
left, and I don't really remember. I don't really remember that. Anyways, I did find what I was saying about yours when they started talking normal. I was like, how the fuck does she understand him? I was like, I
Yeah.
knew they were gonna do some bullshit like this, and then she's like, oh, he's bilingual, and I was like, I hate
Mm.
it, but fine, that makes fucking sense. I
Yeah.
was like, at least you explained it.
Yeah.
So because I was like torn. I was like, that's bullshit, but
Yeah.
fine. I was like, you gave me an explanation, and
It's
I can at
funny.
least
Yeah.
wrap my head
Just
around
a
it,
quick
and it's
explanation
funny.
to move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, fine, it was okay.
Yeah.
Um, do we know if I don't want to like? I don't know if this is. I don't know. I'm not trying to be offensive at all. Do we know if Captain Marvel is if her character is lesbian or straight? Does she have a
There
does she have a
there's a
sex in the comics
um
or like
a why am I like having a brain
what's
moment
her
too?
sexual
We're
like her
having
yeah
we're having the same brain moment here. Um,
what's her
yeah.
sexuality, I
What's her
guess.
sexual preference? Yeah.
Yeah.
So uh, there is a huge amount of people on the internet that want her to be bisexual.
Hmm.
So, and not that I care one way or another whether she is or not. Marvel can do whatever they want. Who cares?
Hmm.
Um, what I'm picking up on, just from what I know from the comics and what I've seen on screen, she does not have to be. So
No.
you don't need to not that I'm saying like you're forcing this, but you don't need to force this. And if they say
Yeah.
if Marvel says yeah she's bi and whatever, then okay,
Hmm.
fine, whatever, I don't care. So
I don't care. I
that's
don't
what
care one way or the
that's
other.
what she is.
Like
Good for
even
her.
if we don't see it
Yeah,
at ever, I don't care if
yeah.
she sees if she likes a guy, a
She
girl, whatever,
yeah
an alien. I don't
she
care.
does not need to be straight. She does not need to be bi. She's just her character. That like her sexual
Right.
preference does not matter. But all I've known from the character and her relationships is from the comics is that she is straight. That
Okay.
says that said, she has a very fucked up comic history, and they are
Mm.
definitely taking a different approach to the character for the movies. So they do not have to be truthful to the comics. So whatever they want to do, that's fine.
Mhm.
The only thing I know about the MCU and what a character needs to be contractually is Peter Parker needs to be straight. That's just in the contract.
Huh.
So I think any other character they can do whatever they want with.
But
Sony
any other
cannot make
Spider-Man,
Spider-Man gay.
at least Peter Parker Spider-Man, any
Yeah,
other
Peter Parker.
Spider-Man can other ones can be, right? Like
Yeah,
they can make any.
even alternate universe versions of Peter Parker I think can be gay.
Hmm.
And I think both Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield have brought up that they wanted to explore Peter Parker being bisexual or be gay.
Ooh.
And the studios have always like their responses from what the studios' responses to them have been. I think they were trying to like I think they were just trying to like get them off the conversation because they're like, oh
Oh.
yeah, it's not the direction we want to go or whatever. But when the contracts were released, like leaked, no, they legally cannot make him gay. So
Mm.
so he has to be straight. And I think they just didn't explain that to the actors when they were told because they both publicly said, yeah, I wanted Peter Parker to have like a gay relationship or something. And they legally can't, but they were just never told that.
Yeah. Um. So what I've gotten from the MCU, maybe I read in too much into it. It's also been a while since I've seen it, but from the first one, I thought her friend, who is Rambo's mom,
Mm-hmm.
thought they had undertones of flirting. I was like, just like maybe a little bit
A lot
more
of
than
people have read
friends.
into that, yeah.
So maybe I read into it too much, or maybe I was assuming that was the role it was going. But I
Sure.
don't. It's been a while since I've seen that, so
Understandable,
I
yeah.
don't really know. So when they brought Asgardian Valkyrie into the movie, I was curious because they kissed on the cheek, and I was curious if
Okay.
they had a thing. I don't know how they met. So there was the war that they could
Uh
have met.
you know that just just because you know and are friends with a gay person, that does not make you gay.
No, I know, I understand that. I'm not saying
Okay.
that. My girlfriend was just
Mhm.
like, "Ooh, I hope they ship them together." She just
Sure,
wanted them
yeah.
to be shipped together. So
I'm
I
sure
thought,
many people do.
yeah, because like
Yeah,
I think my girlfriend just really liked the idea of two powerful chicks,
sure.
just whatever. Um, but then that's what brought up the conversation. She's like, didn't she have something with Rambo's mom, or was that just something we were reading into? And we're like, I think we just read into it. And then we're like, are these two seeing each other? Or are they just good friends? And then we're like, not sure either. And then
Yeah.
we were like, I wonder if. Then my girlfriend said, do you think they have like superhero Tinder? Like, do you think
I
like
it's watch She-Hulk.
watch? Oh my god,
Watch
is that
She-Hulk.
in that?
Watch
Oh
She-Hulk.
my god. Wow, I guess I have to watch She-Hulk. That's hilarious if that's in that because we both didn't watch that. So, but with all that's just something I was curious about because I
Yeah.
didn't know if she had a sexuality or not. What is um how did they know each other that well? Is that the only thing I can think of is that they met in the
Endgame.
at the so they met at Endgame, or do you think when they were off doing the missions where after the snap and they
Mhm.
were doing the whole
They
uh,
would have both
uh
been. They both were not blipped, so they could have known each other within those 5 years.
that's what I was wondering. You know how like Natasha was talking to Akora and Rocket and War
Mhm.
Machine and her? I was
Yeah.
wondering if Valkyrie was like she may have also been in touch with them through kinds of stuff.
Valkyrie would not
So
have been king at that point, but she
no,
would
but maybe
have
she could
been.
have, yeah,
She would
she could
have
have been in
maybe
touch with
the
Thor and
go-to like communications, like, hey, Thor is just not answering the phone, so I guess I'll do it. Like,
yeah,
she could have been
yeah.
that, yeah.
So we were just curious if maybe they had met during the blip in 5 years and we just off screen or something, and
Yeah,
then
there's a lot of stuff that
we were
happens off screen that we don't see. So
and then we were just like, well, the only way they could have met is at Endgame and then Iron
well,
Man's funeral,
yeah, but
but
also a
it
lot
was
of
just
time has happened
off yeah off screen.
during the blip and
Uh-huh.
after Endgame. So we're way into the future now, right?
Yeah, which I
So
thought was just cool to like show that they have a friendship together
yeah.
without us knowing. I'm like, that's cool that like
Mhm.
the characters still interact even if we don't see them
Yeah.
off screen. But yeah, anyways, that was just what brought it up. So then my girlfriend was curious if they had superhero Tinder, and that's funny that you're
Yeah.
like, watch She-Hulk, because
Watch
now I'm
She-Hulk.
like, well, we might see something like that.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, yeah, interesting. What we're gonna talk about the ending, I guess. I don't know anything else in the middle that was super
Sure. I'm trying to
significant.
think if there's anything in the middle that's worth talking about. Oh, there's a funny moment. So the the moment's really funny. So my logic brain goes here too. Um, there's a point where they're Miss Marvel and Monica are falling from the
Yeah,
sky, and then she creates the bubble to try to protect them. And then the
yeah,
moment they hit the ground, Captain Marvel is there on the ground, and then Nick Fury's like, "Oh, that's cool, it's just Carol."
Yeah.
that's
when
that's
he thinks they're
funny.
gonna die.
Yeah, so that's funny. But like logically, and like, shouldn't one of them still be in the bubble?
Logically, one of them
Yeah,
should still be in the bubble, and
yeah,
they should have. I think they still should have teleported with the same momentum. So you still would have been
sure.
smashing, even though you teleported.
Yeah,
You would have been smashing the ground as hard as wherever you went. I'm like, why is the
sure.
momentum? The momentum just disappeared, which I
Yeah.
thought was bullshit too.
But that
Um,
was a funny line, so like I'll let it slide.
I did love that though. He's just like, oh my god, they're gonna die, and then it's cool, it's just Carol. Um, there is like, I still think she's super strong.
Hmm.
Like, I still thought Captain Marvel is super strong, even if she doesn't have her glowing power on. She still should be strong, which I thought was weird when she jumped in the air and they shot her with like a laser blast and she went flying across the room. And I was like, why the fuck are you fighting without your powers fully maxed out? I was like, you could have
Yeah.
handled that guy in 2 seconds, but you, like, why? Like, why this? Like, I thought that
I
was
don't know.
weird. And then uh you're the thing that bothered me was they teleport. Okay,
Yeah.
this is weird. I'm glad they don't I'm glad they teleport with their clothes, because then it would be holy. It would be super weird every time they teleported. They were naked, especially because Kamala
Sure.
Khan is
I think I know where you're
underage.
going with this. Okay.
Yeah, where you? I was annoyed that she teleported into space, into Rambo's spacesuit
Yep.
that apparently fit Kamala Khan perfectly. Like,
So I
her head wasn't like this, like on this in the
yeah.
spacesuit. It fit the whole helmet, and I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
why? I was like, this is stupid. I was like,
Um
that.
so this is a conversation that we have had before in similar scenarios.
Okay.
I always overlook this stuff because
Hmm.
a character goes invisible. Oh, their clothes go invisible too. A character
Yeah.
teleports, or they shapeshift, or like we've seen this in Secret Invasion, all the Skrulls and stuff transforming.
Yeah.
Um, or I was also thinking like Harry Potter. Like they find you've seen Harry Potter, right? I'm gonna spoil
Yeah.
Harry Potter here. They find Peter Pettigrew, right?
Hmm.
And he's Ron's rat. The rat's
Hmm.
naked. They transform him into a person. He has all his clothes. Then he
Yeah.
turns back into a rat, but his clothes don't transform with him. He's just a naked rat.
Right.
I'm like, what? Which logic are you like sticking with here? Like, which
Yeah.
one of the two? Right? Do the clothes go with him? Do they not? So like we see the same thing all the time in the MCU and like everything. So I'm like, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna overlook it. The clothes are part of the body sometimes. Sometimes they're not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I just thought it would have been cool if she teleported into space and she couldn't breathe for a second, and
yeah,
then she made like a bubble of air around her that I would have been
yeah,
like,
yeah,
okay,
mhm,
I was like, cool, she's safe from outer space
yeah.
elements and that. But then okay, the suit fit her perfectly though, dude. Like,
No,
it
no, I,
wasn't
th-
at
I
least
think
like,
I think it was a little bit like I remember from the trailer. I don't know if they changed it from the trailer, but I know
you
the
know,
trailer. It seemed like she was too short for the. She was like her head was like not reaching the top of the helmet.
oh, it fit perfectly in the movie, and that's what
Yeah, yeah,
bothered
yeah.
me because I was like
The
that.
the the movie seemed like it was because I remember watching the trailer a few times. I'm
Uh-huh.
like that scene seemed different from the trailer, so I think they used an alternate scene, which Marvel
Ugh.
should not be doing anymore because there was a bill that passed where somebody can sue a movie studio for like false advertising by using alternate scenes or scenes that are not in the movie in the trailer.
Makes sense to
Which
me because you pissed me off in Infinity War when you showed me the Hulk and then I
sure,
didn't get him.
sure. But also
That pissed.
Morbius when they showed all the shit that wasn't in Morbius to try to
Oh
sell
yeah.
us on Morbius. Like
Oh yeah.
Morbius is
Yeah.
important. It has everything to do with Spider-Man, and then none of that shit was in the movie.
Yeah, that was a huge one for you because I
Yeah,
remember how much stuff you showed me. You picked
yeah.
apart that trailer
Yeah, I'm
for
like, does it
everything
exist
that.
in this universe or that universe? Is this character going to be in there? No,
Yeah,
it's just fucking. Then they asked the director. He's like, yeah, Sony put all that stuff in there, and I don't know why. Like,
yeah,
they're trying to sell the movie. That's why.
yeah, and that shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah,
That's more stuff that like fans who know that kind of stuff will see. To
yeah,
me, I just see images that I'm like, that's cool. Oh, cool. That's a
yeah,
Spider-Man, whatever the fuck, like whatever. But like when I see Hulk running in Wakanda War, and then
yeah.
I don't see him in the movie, I was like, do you know how long in that movie I was waiting for like the Hulkbuster to just like be the end of it, and the Hulk
Yeah.
just tear it apart from the inside and come out, and that never happened. That is, I know there's so many fans that are pissed that they didn't get to see Hulk rip out of a Hulkbuster.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, so that bothered me when I was like, why can only your clothes be teleported with you, but not a spacesuit, which is inadvertently closed? I was like, it's not like it's
Sure.
I don't know. It didn't make
You're
sense to
also
me.
you're also putting into question like any items that you're holding too, or any
Oh
like
yeah, no,
jewelry and stuff too.
yeah,
Like remember Loki was teleporting all the time. He always teleported with his clothes. There was
yeah,
one time where he was holding the time stick or whatever,
yeah,
and he teleported without the time stick. It just dropped. Like why
yeah,
is that the outlier here, right?
yeah.
So
It's just do I teleport with everything I'm touching
yeah,
or don't. Either
like
either you teleport
yeah.
naked or everything that you're touching or holding goes with you. But you
But
cannot. You don't get to fuck with me on both.
but
So
it's just like an established. It's not just the MCU. It's everything, right? It's
yeah,
just whatever fits and is convenient for the story. That's what's
yeah,
gonna happen. There's like no rhyme or reason and consistency to it. So that's
yeah.
why, and that's always going to be the case. So that's always why it's something that I overlook.
Yeah, my girlfriend, like, she was just like, "Can you?" Like, I was like, "But why, Jess?" I was like, "But why did she go?" And the suit was still with her, and then they whatever, and like, it
Yeah.
was like another 20 minutes into the movie, and I'm like, "But does it make sense though?" And my girlfriend's like, "Shut up! I'm trying to enjoy the movie." And I was just sitting there huffing and puffing because I was like, "It does not
Yeah,
make
you
sense
gotta
though."
let
And
it
I was like,
go. You gotta let
I
it
know,
go.
I'm
It's
like,
just one of
cool,
those things that won't make
yeah.
sense.
And that's
Yeah.
what makes me upset with movies though, is when they do stuff like that. Or even like with,
Mhm.
one that'll still always bother me is how in Love and Thunder she got to where she needed to be just from Mjolnir. And I was like, do you know how long it
Yeah.
would took you to fly there? And you and
Yeah,
I
that's a
talked
big
about that.
thing.
We talked about that one
Yeah.
in depth and that how
Yeah.
annoying it was. Okay, let's get to the end of the movie and how it wraps up, I guess. Unless there's anything else.
Okay, I don't remember this. How did they defeat the villain?
So the villain got both the bracelets and
Yes, and then she went
used
like
her
this or something,
She
right?
used her power to basically rip the fabric of time in half, and she
Okay.
killed herself doing it.
Oh, okay.
So she
Yeah.
killed herself doing it in space, which another part bothered me there is um what was it? Captain Marvel, who was it? Who was it that had her? Captain Marvel like got knocked out I think from the blast, and then
Okay.
Rambo and Miss Marvel were safe off to the side. So in
Yeah, they were
about
all like
30
on the
sec
ship, right?
Yeah, on a ship.
Yeah.
So then Miss Marvel uses this giant hand and collects all of the stuff and pulls it all back. Okay.
Yeah.
That took
Yeah.
like 10 seconds and she pulled it back.
Sure. Yeah.
Then they give her the bracelets. So now I believe Kamala Khan has both bracelets. And then Rambo had to go out there and she was
Oh
like,
yeah, she does have both now, doesn't she?
yeah, so she has both now.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then
Yeah.
Rambo was like, "Cool, I can go repair this thing." And then she
Mm-hmm.
goes out to the thing and she starts repairing the fabric of time
Mm-hmm.
from the other side of the reality point.
I
And then
remember
it took
something that I was upset about here.
Miss Marvel
Yeah.
or Captain Marvel. It took Captain Marvel like 40 minutes to fly to that scene while she was fixing it.
Yeah. Sure. Sure.
Even
Yeah.
though Miss Marvel collected them both in like 30 seconds, and I was like, Captain Marvel can fly through ships and fly across where whatever. She flies super fast, and you're gonna tell me that Miss Marvel scooped her up with her hands in 10 seconds, and we couldn't get there in time?
Sure.
So that bothered me because for whatever reason it was super farther away this time,
The-
and we didn't get there, and
yeah.
it closed in. And now we wake up with Rambo in an alternate universe. And I'll
Well,
let
so hold on,
you.
hold on. The part that bothered me here is
Okay.
that it took them so long to figure out she's not coming back. Like, I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, I know.
I thought that was implied when she said, I'm going to go fix it. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
I thought so
okay.
too.
Well, there's only one way you can do that, and you're not returning back. Like, I thought
Yeah.
they just all understood that. And then at some point, they're like, wait, uh, wait, you're not coming back? I'm like, how did
Yeah.
you not know that? Like, so it
Yeah.
took them so long to figure that out.
That bothered me too because I thought the same thing. When you said she's like, "There's only I can do it, and I'll have to
Yeah.
sacrifice myself to do it," and the other two were like, "You can do this, you got it." And then they went out there, and she's like, "I'm not coming back," and they're like, "Wait, hang on, what?" It was like they weren't listening the first time. They're like, "Yeah, you got this," and
Yeah.
I agree with you. I was like, "Oh my god, fuck
Like
Christ!" I was
they're
like,
like the like Andy from Parks and Rec. All right, see you tomorrow, Monica.
"Yeah," I was like, "You'd say guys don't listen because these girls did not listen to each other at all, like through lots of times in the movie."
Yeah.
So yeah, so can you want to explain the ending to me? The after credits,
So Beast is a character from the X-Men who
right?
undergoes an experiment and turns himself blue.
Yeah, yeah, but he,
No, Monica is somehow woke up, like she was found in this alternate universe,
mhm,
this alternate timeline, by a character who very much resembles her mother.
yeah.
And they brought her back to, I'm assuming the X Mansion, but it could be just like it could be another sword or shield or
I
something.
assumed it was a space, like a space station.
It could be a space station. It could be another. So, these character Beast at least is part of Sword in the comics.
Okay.
So it could be that universe's Sword, and he's just on there. Um, but yeah, they brought her back there. So this character who looks like her mother,
Hmm.
is just a character who has never had kids, I guess, and doesn't realize that that's her daughter in an alternate universe.
Yeah.
Um, and she's wearing a costume that Carol Danvers wore as an X. Well, not I think she was an X-Men at the time in the comics, but she was
My
called
goodness.
Binary. So that's
Okay.
that's her like binary costume. So it's weird that we're seeing it on Maria Rambo. Like, okay. And it looks like a weird costume too. I'm like, it just looks out of place. But sure, you want to go the X-Men style route. I get it.
Yeah.
Um and then yeah, and
Yeah.
then Beast
Different.
is with her, and then they explained like, oh, it seems like you're from an alternate dimension. Charles Xavier wants to look at and study you. So that's why I'm thinking they're at the X Mansion. But
Right. I am curious. In the multiverse of madness, when we see the Earth's mightiest heroes or whatever, and we see Captain Marvel,
mhm.
was that the same? Was that the mother of Rambo,
Yeah.
or was that Rambo in that
So it's
one?
the same actor, but I think
Actress.
these are, yeah, sure. um, these are two different characters that have the
Right.
same
Okay.
name from like they're in two different universes. They
Right.
have the
Right. Right.
same name, same actor.
Okay.
So one
Um.
is one is a Maria Rambo Captain Marvel that we've seen in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, and then
Yeah.
there's another Maria Rambo Captain Marvel, but maybe binary, whatever she wants to go by, in
Yeah.
this new universe that we're being introduced to.
Okay. Um. Now I didn't. It looks the same to me, but was that the same actress from Captain Marvel?
Yeah.
Is it the same one of all three?
Yes. So
Okay. And
so
in
there's
our
there's three
universe,
three Maria Rambos that we've been introduced to three different universes. Two of
yeah,
them have Captain Marvel superpowers.
yeah, and the one in our universe, she died from cancer
Hmm.
during the blip while Rambo was blipped away, right?
Yes,
And she came
yes,
back to her mother, passed away.
yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we established that. Um, my girlfriend couldn't understand why Rambo was mad at Captain Marvel the whole time, and I was like, "Cause she said I'll see you soon," and then it was like 40 years later, and she never came and said hi to her,
Yeah,
to
if you
her.
if you rewatch, I know it's been a long time. If you rewatch WandaVision, she
Yeah.
was clearly upset anytime she like Captain Marvel was brought up. So
Oh, okay.
they
All
were
right.
establishing that.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what I was telling her. I was like, yeah, she's still pissed at that. I was like, she was pissed that her aunt never came to say hi to her with all these
Yeah.
powers and just like left her.
And then her
Um,
reason was because she was ashamed because couldn't she couldn't find a solution to the Kree and the Skrulls and everything, right?
right, right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought that at least. I was like, okay, I get why you're upset. I was
Yeah.
like, it doesn't really
They
make
got
that
over
much
it
sense.
quick though.
Yeah, they sure did.
Yeah.
Well, we only had like an hour and a half of movie, so we had to wrap that up real quick. So you guys had to make it. We had a
Yeah.
very quick
But we
probably
had a
go to
musical scene, so you know.
Yeah,
Time well
we had
spent.
that too. We had a really we had a really quick montage of them learning their powers overnight from
Yeah.
a little girls' night. I like that
I like
scene.
that
I thought it was
montage. Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Yeah, it seemed very quick. I was like, here we go. We got to learn how to use our powers in 30 seconds because
Yeah.
we got the rest of the movie to do. But yeah, it was fun. I just thought there were some things I would have liked to see in the movie. There were some things they probably needed to elaborate on in the movie.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It's worth a watch. Um,
Yes.
I'll watch it again. I just don't know if it's gonna be one that I'm not gonna put it in my like top 10 favorite Marvel movies though.
The Flurkin scene alone, I'm rewatching it.
Oh yeah, like that.
Yeah,
If
this movie's fun.
if it comes across my phone,
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit play and I'm gonna watch the Flurkins eat people because
Yeah,
it
sure.
was good.
The Marvel Instagram account has a shortened version of that scene.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's not the full scene, but it's still funny bits from the scene. So
yeah. I do love how terrifying that the heroes looked slicking cats on people though. Oh, and when when you were saying with your brother about like you know what this is and whatever, did you know it was Goose's eggs? Did you
yeah,
know? Like you got it? Okay. See, like
yeah.
for
I
me,
read the comics. I'm like, yeah, these are eggs.
I see that's something that I was disappointed
Yeah,
I didn't catch because I'm really good at like
yeah.
understanding where something's
I
going,
didn't
or I
catch
can
it at
kind of
first, but when they were
catch.
finding
Yeah.
multiple, I'm like, oh, these are eggs. He's laying
See,
eggs.
when I saw the first one and they were like
Yeah,
studying it, I'm like, what the fuck is this egg now? I'm like, how does this
yeah,
have to do with the rest of the story? I was like, is
yeah,
this gonna be something that goes in like after Marvel? I thought it was honestly, I thought it was gonna be something that like
yeah.
either
They're setting up for like
they're
another
setting
movie.
up. I thought that's what
Yeah,
I thought it was. I was like, this is gonna be something where like at the end of the fucking movie, it's gonna do a cutscene and we're gonna see
yeah,
an egg hatch and it's gonna be something that like ties in with the 10 rings or something. Like I thought it was gonna be
yeah,
something just weird and like to connect another movie, but I was happy it was something like that Goose was just laying eggs, so that's
yeah.
hilarious.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. In terms of like what this sets up, it's just another. I thought there was going to be more involvement with incursions and stuff. I thought that's what they were experimenting on or investigating in the trailer.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
turns out it was just the villain again. What's her name? I don't know.
I,
What she was doing, a result of what she was doing. Which I think to answer your earlier question, her objective was to take resources that her planet needs to survive while simultaneously destroying other worlds as revenge to Captain Marvel, like the
yeah, to the
places that she
Annihilator.
cares about. Yeah. Um, so that's a result of what she was doing. So that had no consequence on to the multiverse and incursions until the end when they created that split, and then Monica had to go through. And I think that's what we're going to start seeing. So we're going to see
Yeah.
like I don't know if there's any from what we know that's coming up. I don't know if we're expecting to see these characters in anything else
Yeah.
before Secret Wars or a Kang Dynasty. But I imagine that this alternate world that Monica is in is going to play
Hmm.
an important role in Secret Wars. So the
Yeah.
characters from this universe. Now, this could be a universe that is filled with X-Men.
Yeah.
And this is just a theory, right?
Yeah.
This could be a universe that's filled with X-Men, and we already know the two different Avengers movies that are coming out. There's the Kang Dynasty, unless they're rewriting that, which people for some reason think, which I think they're just going to recast Kang, but whatever.
They
Um,
should just
yeah,
you've done so much for Kang already. You
yeah.
might as well just
I
recast.
think it's still going to be a Kang movie, and it's gonna revolve around Kang. Um,
Yeah.
and then the second one is Secret Wars. Now, Secret Wars can maybe not be exactly what it was in the comics, just like Civil War wasn't what it was in the comics, and instead
Yeah.
of in the comics, it's just patchwork places of Earth from different universes to form its own new Earth.
Right.
Um, which could very much be what Secret Wars is in the movies because we're seeing all these different universes, right?
Right.
Or now I'm thinking another story that they can adapt at the same time as Secret Wars is Avengers versus X-Men, because they need a way to introduce X-Men into the MCU. Why not make it the two universes that are left are the MCU and the X-Men universe? and
Right.
that's when we're gonna see Avengers vs X-Men, which is gonna be titled Secret Wars. Um, I don't know if that's what's gonna happen. That's just a possibility and a theory that I have. So.
I had one other thing that didn't ruin the movie for me. Like nothing really ruined the movie completely for me, but
Yeah.
I had like because we had just left. Um, I guess that's the only thing I could say that might put the Marvels before Secret Invasion is because I could see that everybody on the ship was human, but I thought if they had done it after Secret
They
Invasion,
weren't all
it
human.
I didn't really see anybody else who wasn't human there. I just thought it
They
would
were
make
talking
more
to
sense.
that one guy, and they said, "How old are you?" And he's like 200 and something, whatever.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So
And that
and
see,
to be fair, when we saw Nick Fury last on the ship,
yeah,
like on the ship, not coming from the ship or going to the ship,
yeah,
um, most of the characters on the ship that we saw were Skrulls. So a lot of those characters could be Skrulls.
right. And I just wish I
Yeah.
saw like a character, a couple Skrulls walking around in their safe, normal form. Do you know what I mean? Like
Sure.
they're with other Skrulls. They're with people who know they're Skrulls and humans and Nick Fury. To me, I just would have been like, oh, okay, so we are right after Secret Invasion. It would have
Yeah.
made sense to see a couple Skrulls.
Right.
Like I thought it was weird. I was like, not all the Skrulls talked about in Secret Invasion how they're annoyed that they don't get to walk around in their own skin. So
Yeah.
being on a space station where you don't have to blend in would make sense why at least a couple of them wanted to walk
These
around in their
these
same
are
skin. So
also I guess like Fury loyalists,
yeah,
because the people who were on Fury's side
yeah,
did what he told them, say always blend in. So they were
yeah,
always blending in, right?
yeah,
Whereas the extremists and everything, they never wanted to do that. They wanted to be their own selves, except
yeah.
for the people who were covert and undercover and trying to make sure that nobody can realize that they're Skrulls.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose you're right. I just think it would have. I think it just would have like
Mm-hmm.
been a nod to the last show if I at least seen
100%,
it,
yeah.
like a couple, at least just one. Like one guy, like one scene, he's walking around in his own skin, and then he sees like Kamala's family walk by, and then he blends. He like turns into a human, and they don't see it, but we saw it. Like just something like that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just think would have been a cool nod to it. Like it felt like a missed opportunity there. Is all. That's
Oh,
all I.
I have another um thing I'm a little bit annoyed about. The costumes. The First of
Oh yeah,
all,
you did
Miss
mention that.
Marvel's costume from the show that they showed through the like the first half of the movie
Yeah.
is awesome, and I'm like that's like the perfect costume. It's like plays homage to the comics. In the show,
Yeah.
like they like establish like how her costume's made from like different pieces of people that she really cares about, and it
Yeah.
just looks really cool. And then they give her that really like bland
The
primary color, kind of like, I'm like, this looks like, I don't know, it's okay, I guess, but it's nowhere near what she had before. um Same with Captain Marvel. They gave her a cool new costume at the beginning of the movie, and then she was given a more muted, boring costume,
yeah.
with a giant fucking star that just stood out.
Yeah.
And the only one that I liked that was a change was Monica's costume, because I thought that it had a cool black and white uh,
Yeah. I loved
thing.
Monica's costume.
But to be fair, why did any of them need to change costumes? Like, why was this a
No.
thing? They didn't need to. And her costume, like,
Yeah.
what purpose did the new costume give Monica, other than the black and white was like pretty much flipped? There's more
Did
black.
Monica even have a costume before? I don't remember.
She had the sword outfit, which was like mostly
Okay.
white with black accents. And then the new
I guess
costume was
she had to
more
fit the
black.
Marvels, I guess. Yeah.
But
I
it
guess she
didn't
just had
really
to fit the
change
Marvels.
much. Like,
Yeah.
it looks
I
cooler, but
yeah.
what did it change? It didn't do anything. Yeah.
I liked Monica's black and white costume. I thought it looked really nice. I guess I
Yeah.
didn't really notice her outfit before. Captain Marvel's before she had that Kree armor, remember? And she changed all the colors up and stuff.
Yep.
So I thought, like, why give her a new suit? We should have just seen her. I would have been cool to see her
Yeah, her
interacting with her suit again, and maybe she changes to match the team.
yeah,
Sure, like that would have been okay.
her new
Um,
costume was like more I guess thinner, or I think it had like
yeah,
sleeves. It's kind of more like a biker kind of jacket kind of look. And
yeah.
I thought it looked sleeker than the original Captain Marvel. But,
Mm.
but then they gave her
Um,
that other one.
yeah. Kamala Khan, I remember when I was watching that, I remember being like, "Oh, that's the costume that looks really good." Till loves that one, and then when she changed, I was like, "Oh yeah, Till's gonna hate that." I was
Yeah,
like, "Till definitely liked the new suit, so for them
yeah,
to change it is gonna piss him off."
yep.
And I remember saying that to Jess,
Yeah,
and I l- the only reason I can sort of wrap my head around, um, what's her name's Miss Marvel's
yeah,
Kamala's outfit, because I liked hers and I wanted more of it, and hopefully they go back to it. The only reason why it made sense or whatever is because they're in space and hers wasn't a space outfit before.
sure.
So maybe you needed a space outfit to be more like
Why
actual armor and be
why did
durable.
why did Captain Marvel need a new one? Like,
No, yeah, I don't know. Just
but also Miss Marvel's new outfit, the change that they gave her was that
yeah.
her ribbons can whip, which she used once
Oh
in one
yeah.
scene. She whipped once and then the camera cut away. And that's the only time we've ever seen her whip her ribbon.
Oh yeah. Yeah, which is weird because the guy goes, "Use your scarf," and I would have been like,
Yeah,
"What the fuck are you talking about?"
yeah,
And then she picked up her scarf and then like threw a dude. So yeah, that was odd. It
yeah.
was odd, and she didn't use her hands as much
Because she
as
couldn't, because they would teleport, right?
uh
Because Captain Marvel needed to do the punching, so the other characters are like, we can't use our powers,
yeah.
so that's why
It
she
sucks
had
because
the whip.
they could have saved. No, I remember that
Yeah,
part. I feel like because they were able to. I don't know if you teleport with people when they teleported because they teleported with they must have teleported with people because when she teleported back into her house, she brought
yeah,
those people with her, or at least she brought the cat, and the cat brought people.
that's true. Yeah,
So so if you could teleport with the cat, I felt like they could have saved that planet in a cool like infinite loop way by bringing teleporting the cat, using the cat to eat a bunch of people, and then teleport
yeah.
back to the ship, dump all the people out, and then just constantly just be eating people with the ship and
I think
teleporting
they
all
just
over the
didn't have
planet. But
time,
I
but
know that
mm.
yeah, I couldn't use an extra 20 minutes in that movie. So a cool scene, but
Yeah,
I was thinking of things. I was like, man, why can't they're all standing on the ship. Use your hands to go and reach and grab people, because then you're just going to
yeah.
teleport to someone next to you, but you're still using. I don't know. I just the whole time I was like, you could grab a couple people. I don't know. Overall, like it was like we said, it was
Mhm.
a fun movie.
Yeah,
I feel like there was more they could have done with it. I guess.
yeah. Exactly. That's exactly
Yeah.
my thoughts. I, I'm looking forward to what this is setting up, even though it didn't really set up much. Just it's just like everything's leading up into Secret Wars. It's what we're gonna see with
Yeah.
Deadpool as well. We're gonna have a fun movie with Deadpool, and it's gonna be like Secret Wars is next. Get ready for
Yeah.
it.
It set up a lot and nothing at the same time. Like
Yeah,
it didn't really. It set up a lot with the fact that we saw X-Men characters,
hmm
but it
one
only really set up people.
character.
Yeah, it only really set up with Monica.
Yeah,
So I literally was like, when I was talking to Jess, I was like, that's either going to be something. I was like, honestly, I felt like something that was just like, we're just going to put Monica here with X-Men. So if we want to
yeah.
come back to this, we can, but we might never touch that again. Like
No,
I wasn't.
they're definitely gonna come back to it for sure.
You
That's
think
gonna
so?
be
Yeah.
like I think that's gonna be a
Yeah.
pivotal
Anytime
moment.
they have the X-Men characters, I'm always like, well, who has the rights? Because I was like, if somebody else
Well,
loses the
yeah,
rights to, yeah,
Disney does now. So
yeah,
Fox had it for a long time, and then Disney bought 20th Century Fox,
yeah.
including all of the movie rights to what they had. So that includes X-Men.
Yeah. Uh,
One thing about the Fantastic Four, Marvel had. Are we done with um the
I think so.
Marvels?
We basically touched on everything that
Yeah.
I think bothered me in the movie and all the cool stuff. So
By the way, Iman Vellani, uh, as always, amazing job. The
oh, Kamala Khan.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
favorite part of the movie definitely was her. Um, Marvel is promoting the Fantastic Four news right now, and
Mhm.
something I completely forgot. Um, they had a promo image. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up. Um, it should be on their Instagram. Is it slash Marvel Studios? I'm gonna pull it up here because yeah, they made a Valentine's Day picture. So I'm just gonna go full screen here. Get rid of the visual context rectangle. Um, so this is their Valentine's Day post promoting Fantastic Four, and you have all the actors here. There's a picture of the actor for the Thing and a picture behind the Thing because the Thing's going to be CG, and he doesn't have the same
Right.
face as the actor. Um,
Mhm.
but right next to the Thing, you see that little robot?
No,
Robot giving coffee to the Thing.
no, only because their screen is so small. But I had
Yeah.
that picture so I can look at it more.
Okay.
But what is the robot?
Can I zoom in? Can't zoom in, and I can't like view. Yeah, there's a robot like right here. If you can see my mouse, next to the Thing, that is
Okay.
Herbie. I think is its name. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I remember. I think I've seen the robot in the comics a few times. Definitely not something you think of when you think of Fantastic Four. You think of just the four characters, right?
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
I most know this robot from watching the I think it was an 80s cartoon. There was a cartoon. There's like a Cartoon Network. Was it Cartoon Network or there was a cartoon channel that I used to watch way back as a kid, and they would at night air at the time like older retro cartoons, right?
Okay.
And they played the Hulk, Spider-Man. I think there was some other Marvel stuff, but like Hanna-Barbera and like a bunch of other stuff too. But one of them was Fantastic Four, and I used to watch that old Fantastic Four cartoon. And what I always thought was weird was they had Mr. Fantastic, they had an
Mm-hmm.
Invisible Woman, they had the Thing, and then their fourth character of the family, Herbie the robot, not the Human Torch.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's why don't they have the Human Torch in this show? He's the other fourth person. What's with this robot? But I used to watch the show, and the robot always had a prominent role, and he had like a nerdy like robot voice, like you would imagine
Oh
like in
my
a
God, you
cartoon.
did that. You did that really
Mhm.
well.
Yeah. So so I'm like, what's this stupid robot? Um, from what I remember, so there was this like big online, this big theory at the time of the show
Mm-hmm.
where people thought that the Human Torch wasn't in the show because they didn't want kids to light themselves on fire.
Oh my God.
But I think the real answer was that they didn't necessarily have the rights to the Human Torch
Right.
because it was like a different kind of right situation. There was actually two different Human Torches from Marvel. The original one was not the Fantastic Four. It was like an android back when Captain America and Namor the Submariner were the main characters of Marvel Comics, or back then Timely Comics. So it
Yeah.
was those characters and the Human Torch. It was a different character name altogether. So I think something to do with that. They didn't really have the rights to the Human Torch for the cartoon, so they had to add a fourth character, and they added Herbie the robot.
It's funny because I think
Yeah,
about stuff like that all the time when they add when they do stuff for kids, and I'm like,
yeah,
oh, they can't do that because kids will could use that for something bad or whatever.
yeah.
Like I think I remember like there was an episode of Pokemon a long time ago where Ash jumps off the roof and starts flying, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if it was a rumor or what, but I remember I think kids actually jumped off roofs because they
Yeah.
thought they could fly like Ash, catch them and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I that stuck in my head for like all these years, and I remember that. So the fact
There's
like
other banned episodes from Pokemon that like only aired in Japan.
yeah.
So there's one where there's like a Porygon episode where the lights kept like flashing and changing colors, and they're
Hmm.
giving kids seizures. So they had to
Oh
like
yeah.
not air that in the States. And then there's another. I think there's another episode with Jinx, and Jinx had the old original art style of Jinx, which was
Yeah.
very racist. Um,
Yes.
and
Yes.
then and then there's another episode.
I don't think I've seen the new art style of Jinx. I
Oh, the
just
new it's
remember the.
just it's instead of black face, she has purple face. Um,
Okay.
and then there's I think the most like notable examples of like episodes that are banned are characters that are using guns, like real guns. They're like
Oh
pointing
my
it
god.
in characters' faces and stuff. Like we can't have that on TV. And I remember actually the '90s. I was rewatching some of the '90s cartoon for X-Men,
Yeah.
and that show used guns as a plot point a lot, but they
Hmm.
never actually had actual guns. They had like space guns. Every character in the show, even there if they're a regular human, if they're like a criminal, if they're like a congressperson or whatever, if they had a gun, because it's America, why wouldn't you have a gun, right?
Yeah.
They all had space guns, futuristic space guns that shoot lasers, and these guns were used in the plot like so much, but they didn't shoot bullets. They just shoot lasers that like stun you. You didn't die. You just fell back and go oh, and then get back up after.
Yeah.
so
I feel like I remember that.
so yeah,
That's great.
that's a big thing. Um,
Oh my
uh,
god. Yeah. That's so funny. Kids think think kids are gonna light themselves on
uh,
fire.
yeah,
That's
another
wild.
actually a similar thing to like what like people thought that people were going to do or think
Yeah.
in relation to like old Marvel shows.
Hmm.
Um, there's the old uh Incredible or the old Hulk show, like the live action show with Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah.
Um, which She-Hulk pays homage to a few times actually. Um, the which is actually a show. It's the first time there was a live action Marvel multiverse actually, because that show had like Daredevil and Thor in it.
Yeah.
Um, but the character's name wasn't Bruce Banner. They changed it to David Banner, I think his name was in the
Hmm.
show. And Stanley is like, why? Because Stanley was involved with the making of the show. And he asked like the TV executives, like, why, like, I like the show and everything, but why are we changing the character's name to David Banner? And then they said, oh yeah, because we can't name him Bruce. Sounds too gay.
Jesus.
Literally it. So
Yeah.
yeah, that pissed Stanley off. Like he's been in interviews saying like I hated that was their reason.
Yeah.
So
I think we crushed the entire doc.
crushed it.
Crushed it. I think that was everything.
Yeah, the next thing I mean we're gonna be talking about when we regroup is gonna
Yeah.
be Madam Web. I assume if we're
Yeah.
watching it at this point. And then the next thing is Deadpool in July for the movies.
Yeah.
What's the next TV show? Marvel.
Oh man,
Phase...
I don't
We're
even
in
know.
phase 5 now, right? We're in phase 5, I think. Phase 5.
I thought we were in. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, phase 5.
Phase 5. We yeah, the next movie is in phase 5, Deadpool, Wolverine, and then Captain America Brave New World in February, so exactly a year from now. Actually to this day. a year from now to this day, Captain America. The next show that we're getting is late 2024, Agatha Darkhold Diaries. I thought we were getting animation. Are we not getting animation? I am Groot.
I don't remember. Honestly, we've talked with everything changing. It's been hard to remember what's coming where.
I think we're getting the X-Men cartoon, which we're not going to talk about. And then I think we're getting the Spider-Man cartoon and Marvel Zombie. Oh shit, no, here they are. Yeah, 2024.
Okay.
So actually Eyes of Wakanda is this year too. Which I thought that was far off. Okay, so we're going to get Eyes of Wakanda, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Marvel Zombies, and the X-Men 97. So I think all of those are cartoons. The only ones that I think are gonna have, actually, I don't think any of these are gonna have any significance. So other than Eyes of Wakanda,
What size of Wakanda? Sorry, is that
it's
animated?
just it's a spin-off Wakanda series. Yeah, it's gonna be animated.
Huh.
So it's gonna show different stories of characters in the Black Panther world or the Wakanda world within the MCU. So
Okay.
fully fleshing out those characters more. Um, Marvel Zombies is a what if spinoff. Your Family Neighborhood Spider-Man is like an alternate universe Spider-Man. So it's basically what if Spider-Man. And then X-Men 97 is taking place as a sequel to the 90s cartoon. So none of these are going to have, as far as we know, any implication to the MCU at all. So none of these matter. So I don't even think we're going to be talking about any of these.
Mm.
I'm going to be watching the Spider-Man animation for sure, and I'll probably watch Marvel Zombies.
I'll probably
But
watch Marvel Zombies too. I'll
so
watch
maybe
that. I don't
maybe
know.
we'll talk about Marvel Zombies then. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about the other one you said. I don't know about the
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man one. Yeah, maybe. Maybe it depends just how much time I
I like
have.
Spider-Man animation. And Spider-Man is my favorite character. So if they're telling a good Spider-Man story, I'm down.
Yeah.
But I think that's it. So yeah, we'll be back for Madam Web whenever Madam Web happens, and I'm sure a lot of news is going to happen after that point too. So
Hmm.
we talked about a lot of stuff. If there's anything in particular you have thoughts on, let us know in the comments down below. Are you excited for Madam Web, or have you already seen it? Is it a fun time? Should I go watch it? Let me know in the comments down below.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see you next time.
Yeah, absolutely. See ya.